Great to have you back for another Racing Post Live. Here in the studio with the Betfair Exchange, myself, Dave Orton. Day 2 of the festive festival. No Chepstow, Welsh National off. Storm Betty battered the Welsh borders. 27 mil came down. So we've rejigged it. Delighted to say we bring in Leopardstown. What a card we've got there. Grade 1 action all over the place. Starting in the 110. It's going to be really thick and fast action today. Get your social media comments in. We love the thick and fast action out there. We will give you a good shout out, of course, whether you're watching on YouTube. Do like and subscribe and get your comments in there, or indeed on Facebook Live. Great to have you along this afternoon. The atmosphere, it's going to be raucous in here. We're experimenting a little bit today. Mattie Batch is back.
Hello, Dave. How are we?
Season's greetings to you, Batch.
Good Christmas?
Oh, yeah, as good as it could be. How's
Good.
it down in Brighton?
Very good. Overindulged. Feel a little bit like Pavarotti now, but
Don't know what you're talking about there. I've got no idea. I think I'm channeling him for the last 5 years, aren't I? And of course, we've got Charlie Poste back in with us as well, Racing Post brother from another mother. How are you, Posty?
Oh, great, mate. I was a little bit jaded. I had a big Christmas, and then I got the bombshell that I'm operating the Betfair computer today. I mean,
You're a versatile chap, though.
I am that, and I tried to chuck it on the batch, but then you told me he's still riding, so we said he can't do that, you know. So yeah, it's down to me.
We actually can't do that. I'm delighted about that, and delighted I am. He's with me all week. Barry Orr joins us again, day 2. There he is. How are you, Barry?
I'm very well. Nice to see Charlie so enthusiastic for the show sponsors, but we'll get him there before the day's out. He'll be an even better Betfair player than Mattie beside him there by the end of the day.
Oh, dealt that, Barry.
A low blow to start the day. I'll tell you what, I'm really excited about today. There's going to be loads of banter in here. It is going to be fantastic stuff. And Barry, just quickly, we're going to get to your selections first, because once again, you started off with an absolute flyer yesterday with Killer Clown. Before we go, and we'll talk about all the big action yesterday, you got some juicy plays for us today, starting off in the 110.
Yeah, I think this Shackham Poursoir is worth taking on just at the price at the moment. He's 166 on the Betfair Exchange. He's 11-4 favourite for the Champion Chase. I think it's comeback run, although he won convincingly. It just left me a little bit cold. He got beaten in this race last year, albeit it was his first run of the season. There's a couple of horses in here, namely Notebook and Put the Kettle On. Put the Kettle On, probably the most underrated horse in training, the mare. She's getting the 7 pounds allowance. She's raced 8 times over fences. She's only been beaten once when they stepped her up to 2.5 miles. She's won the other 7. She really is in the Schlur Chase. She's a convincing winner again. Showed her liking for the track. She won the Arkle last year. She really is an improving mare. She's one I want to be with today. And Notebook as well. He could go forward here and could really put it up to the favourite. So just at the price 6-4 on, I think he's a definite leg.
We're starting off with a sizzler, aren't we? Horses like Ruisberg and Animix in there as well. Castle Grace Paddy, who of course took in the Tingle Creek as well. And Barry's got some big lays later on as well. Altiori comes back. Just keeping with you quickly, Barry. There's 3 shorties, aren't there? After this, we whiz back to Kempton. We've got Shishkin, and then of course Altior himself finally coming back in the 230.
Yeah, we get to see him as well. The treble working out, Dave. I think it's working out about a 5-2 chance the last time I looked, and there's been plenty of action on it as well. But yeah, I think I'm going to be taking them on. I'm definitely going to be taking Altior on, that's for sure. But yeah, if Charlie could get cracking here and lay this first, because we are approaching post time. So, Charlie, if you go on to the race, which I'm sure you have open there, you click lay, 1.68, and the box will come up at backers odds, 168, backers stake. We're going to take 50 quid of the backers stake. So if you just populate that there, it should come up with our liability. So our liability around 34 quid. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take 100 quid of the backer stake. So cancel out of that. We're going to take 100.
It's saying 1.66 on here, Barry. Is that right? It's 1.66.
Yeah, so you could just move it down, but it would execute at the best price anyway. Although we've put in 168, that'll execute at 166. So move it down if you want, or it will just execute at the best price. So
okay. Place the bet, Dave?
If you place the bet, yeah.
I tell you what, that went swimmingly.
Look at that.
Smooth posting.
It's like I've been doing
Someone
it all
in
my
my
life.
ear was panicking a bit. Place
The
bet.
guys in the gallery are happy now. We can see go forward. Barry will be happy now as well. But in all seriousness, listen, if you're a beginner to the exchange, you're not sure what it's about, this programme here is to highlight it as well. Betfair is the real market. It's what all the bookmakers on course, of course, they hedging and they're trading as well. So whatever the industry prices are saying the real action is happening right here. I'll be calling most of the races today. We'll see if the chaps fancy a call at some point. We've got 7 belters for you. We go to Weatherby for one as well. The Castleford handicap as well. Barry's taking on Chacun Poursoir. Is he mad? I have to say, I think he is a little bit mad. I know this is a great race. Notebook, of course, took out the Racing Post Novice Chase last year. Put the kettle on. Totally agree with what you're saying, Barry. She is possibly the most underrated Grade 1 chaser out there, I think. Maybe even more so than Frodon, would you believe it? Even still, 3 from 3 at Cheltenham, isn't she? She was supposed to go to Kempton, wasn't she, Barry? Of course, the travel ban means that's Leopardstown's gain.
Yeah, that knocked it on the head for Henry de Bromhead and Connections, unfortunately for them. But definitely this could be a blessing in disguise. She's going to be prominent along with Notebook. You think Chacun Poursoir is probably going to sit in behind them, but I think just the £7 allowance, and like I said, she's an improving mare as well for my money. What she did in the Schlur Chase was pretty impressive too. She's some record. She really has. So until she gets beat again over fences, I'm going to be siding with her.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's not a horse that Rachel Blackmore sits on much. I'm just looking at the record, actually. Rachel Blackmore has won twice on her, but Sean Flanagan gets the call up anyway.
But Rachel always Notebook any day.
Yeah, of course, absolutely, yeah. Okay, all right. So it's a big festival, this, of course, for Rachel Blackmore. Just quickly, guys, before we get your selections. Frodon yesterday taking out the King George. A remarkable performance, wasn't it? The ground obviously was the big key, I think, but the way he jumped, Charlie, we said it on the show yesterday, the way he jumped that second fence, fantastic.
Jumped superbly well. I mean, I think, again, it highlights Paul Nicholls' abilities as a trainer, as in, like, Frodon has been around a while now, whether he's an absolute top-notcher, but Paul has this proven ability to squeeze Grade 1 races out of horses that probably aren't absolute top class.
Remarkable.
You go from Diego to Charmil, San Benedito horse, and I'm not saying Frodon's as weak as them, but he does it time and again, and he's actually got the team. It looks a lot stronger all of a sudden.
Graham Rodway would even call him a genius.
And that is something. If Graham Rodway's calling him a genius, that's unbelievable because there's nothing to it.
When we're allowed out, I'll tell you what,
genius.
That trip to Ditchy's got to happen, Barry, hasn't it? With the Betfair cameras down there, it's got to happen.
I think G-Rod might have bottled that one, Dave.
Oh, I'll tell you what, he's not a man for bottling, I'll tell you that much.
Will Frodon run in the Gold Cup, do you think?
Definitely 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. And there's a good chance if Milena Indo goes and wins the Savills Chase tomorrow at Leopardstown, we're going to have 2 lady riders with serious chance of taking out the race. What a story that would be. Let's get selections for this, though. Are you with me with Chacun? Or?
Yeah, I'm siding with Chacun, yeah.
Massive fan of the horse. I mean, he got Racing Post rating 171. What's he have to do? He's unbeaten second time out. This is only his 10th run. He does have a little bit of fragility about him, doesn't he? But I think, as Barry mentioned, this just serves up perfectly for him. You'd want to be on him and nothing else, Batch, wouldn't you?
I would want to be on Chacun, but I agree with Barry. I do like Put the Kettle On. She's tenacious. She's all that you want in a racehorse challenge. She jumps and she looks like she is improving. So
I just thought she made slightly heavy weather of it at Cheltenham the last day, if I'm honest.
You thought that the Arkle winner, Geneva, should have won that, didn't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think from where he was, like running down the last,
he takes on Altior, of course, today. So we could see that Schlur Chase really well.
I do completely agree that Put the Kettle On is a very vastly underrated mare.
It was her first run as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Dave, I think they're going to miss out the fence in the straight. They meant to jump it the first time, and it's meant to be the last fence as well, but there's a bit of low sun.
It's blazing over there, isn't it? Yeah, thanks, Barry. Yeah, good shout. Absolutely. You got in there before the guys in the studio did as well. Come on, guys in the studio. Come on, crack on. You've got Poste now operating perfectly, the Betfair machine. It's feet up for them in the gallery. We'll be getting the race times. Of course, we've had one race, dramatic juvenile hurdle at Kempton. We've had a couple of races at Leopardstown already. It looked like you want to be prominent, so this will be fascinating. Flag down, though, and off we go. And adopting in the very first position in the Paddy's Reward Club Chase. This is Grade 1 stuff. This usually goes to a champion chaser elect. Aplutard, of course, took out Chacun Poursoir last time, but as expected, Anamix the Grey. I think we can call him the second string for Richie. Of course, he'd just taken the tug. Up front, also Chacun now just adopting that position behind him. Notebook, yeah, he's a little bit keen as well. No antics down at the start for him today. As expected, Put Your Kettle On right up there. And observing from rear, Castle Grace Paddy, he's enthusiastic. And Laricheborg, fascinating to see what he can do. Of course, he pulled up behind Min on his return in the John Durkin, so lots to prove there. But it looks like they're going a fair old pace, Batch.
Yeah, nice pace for the ground as well, so everything's travelling well. Just about to jump the first fence soon, so we'll see how they jump that.
Okay, Posty. Shacken, if you're on him at the moment, you're thinking, yeah, okay.
Dave, we've gone 3 furlongs. There's not a lot happened yet. Let's just let this unfold.
No, listen, I want to get to this point. Look, we're up and over the first. You may well laugh. Don't you side with these jockeys today, Barry Orr. I'm telling you.
He's
It's just
way to the front. He's not really settled at all.
No.
This right. So this is my point. This is why I came to Poste. Honestly, if you ask a jockey how a horse is settling, they'll say it's absolutely fine. I'm looking at it. It's pulling for its absolute brains out.
Not at all, but
Not
I mean,
that
Shacken
bad.
Poursois is an exuberant racer anyway. I mean, he's gone and winged the first, landed upsides in front. It's lit him up a bit. I think Paul Townend's got him back in behind now. I don't think there's any concern about that right now.
Have they anchored it a bit, Barry, do you think? And how's the market reacting after that very first fence?
There's no real reaction to it at all, Dave. Other than put the kettle on, has drifted just ever so slightly out to 11 from a Betfair SP of 9.6. But the favourite's about the 168 mark, what we laid it at earlier.
Okay, happy days. All right, we're on. I'd be pretty happy still. I think Notebook's taking a lovely tug as well. So they're coming up on the far side. Animix is having a little bit of look around him, isn't he? Oh, yeah, Shacken was a little bit awkward there, wasn't he? Had a little bump with Notebook,
186
I
now.
think.
Shifted
Okay.
right in the air, didn't he? Just collided.
Odds
with
against now, 1.12.
Oh, so it was an in-running day yesterday, wasn't it? You could get bigger prices on the exchanges all the way. Frodon was still around about 5 to jump. We were calling it in here. We said, how can he still be 10 to 1? Those in-running players absolutely in clover. So Shacken already on the drift then. Animix a little bit wayward out in front, isn't he? Castle Grace Bazzi still observing from rear with Le Richebourg. I'll tell you the one who's just gone really well throughout this. It's got to be the mare, isn't it, Barry?
Yeah, she's steady enough, Dave. She's just drifted ever so slightly out to 12. She's been a little bit sticky at a couple, and I don't think Sean Flanagan can really get her into the position he wants her to be in. But at the moment now, it looks like Shacken is going to take it up with Notebook.
Notebook, I think, has travelled very nicely through this. Can be inclined to over-race at times and be a little bit over-keen, and I don't think he has at all today. I'd imagine Rachel Blackmore is very, very happy right now.
If you're Paul Townend, guys, let's go to the jockeys for their view. Surely you're hoping to get a lead from Animix, aren't you? I don't think he's quick enough to lead them, basically. It's just a case of having now to just go, right, we've got to crack on.
Yeah, so Notebook's, as Charlie said, Notebook's still travelling. He try and sort of sit up sides for as long as he can, I think, and then his hand to be played because he'll have to say, right, I've got to go and win my race sooner or later.
If you remember the race last year when Shacken made his reappearance in this, his jump 3 out, which we're coming to soon, was absolutely
he's flew that.
And there we go. He's absolutely
That was the second
flown.
last.
That was the second last. Okay, thanks, Barry. So, and he is going really, really strongly. Le Richebourg struggling. Animix is basically being lapped. Castle Grace Paddy, who's got that British form now on his side, he'll give us a handle on Shacken Poursois, won't he? He's got a big say. Coming to the last, and it's going to be some run in this. And Shacken was absolutely fine. Put your kettle on. Not great there. Notebook just starting to feel the pinch a bit. Is this the champion chaser elect that we're seeing as they made this huge long run in at Leopardstown? Castle Grace Paddy now surely gone. Can Notebook get him back, or is this over, guys?
Oh, I think it's over for me. He's just still on the
over,
bridle.
16
It's all
to 1
over,
on.
yeah.
16 to 1 on. My goodness me. Looks like the first leg of the treble's safe then. Usually they say the dangers are in front of him at this point. No, they're bypassing the last. Off he goes. This is just an absolute class act. His win over Min, at Leopardstown, when he came good last season, put him head and shoulders above this. Think Notebook's done absolutely nothing wrong whatsoever in holding second place. Looks like he's going to hold second place. Perhaps a stiffer finish come Cheltenham will be in Put Your Kettle On's favour. But Barry, surely he's going to take an awful lot of beating if he finally gets there in one piece in the champion chase.
Yeah, it looks like it. He didn't, unfortunately, last year, but yeah, no odds coming through yet. He was 11-4 favourite going into that. He's definitely going to shorten off the back of it. It's two. That's a very, very good performance. He's put the best 2-mile chasers in Ireland to the sword without a shadow of a doubt there.
Yeah, and if you think that Politolog will crack on, Barry, in March, he should get that lead again, shouldn't he? And I mean, is that lack of Cheltenham form?
For sure.
Is that lack of I mean, he was looking baseless there, wasn't he? Is that lack of Cheltenham form going to be what all the previews will? All the wise guys on the previews they'll be saying. If you're a bookie out there, you're thinking to yourself, we can definitely, we can get him on that front. You've got to have that Cheltenham form, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm not so sure, to tell you the truth. The lads will probably know better than me, but he's obviously a very, very good horse. He's going to go there as favourite, regardless of what Altior does today. But I think it's more about the opposition than the course form for my money going to Cheltenham.
But he hasn't proven he doesn't like Cheltenham, has he? And I tell you what you do need at Cheltenham, the ability to travel strongly off a real good gallop is key. And
jump.
You were saying yourself, yeah, exactly. You were saying yourself he was maybe over racing a little bit. Well, that'll be an even bigger benefit at Cheltenham, I'd have said.
No chinks then.
Not what I've seen. No, there's no chinks, and if you were Paul Townend, you wouldn't be worried about going to Cheltenham at all.
Well, okay, the first leg of what a lot of people call the muggy treble, now looking like a rather good treble. If you're on leg one, Chacun Pour Soi, champion chaser elect, absolutely hoses up at Leopardstown in the first
7-4 from 11-4, Dave.
7-4 from 11-4. Okay, well, so look, we've got the Wayward Lad to come. Okay, will Altior or perhaps something else in that race? Rouge Vish, for example. Duke de Ginevra. Could he possibly upset the apple cart? Let us know what you are thinking out there about Altior. Apple?
In the Desert Orchid, Altior would be a short price for the Wayward Lad.
Would he?
Well,
Which is coming up now, of course.
Yeah.
Which is coming up now. I always get these two mixed up, But we have got a hot pot again, haven't we? And it's Shishkin Barry. Oh, don't tell me you're against this one as well.
Now, I think there's an in-play angle here, Dave. It's hard to oppose Shishkin on just what he's done. Obviously, supreme winner. And all he showed us in his first time up over fences was that he can actually jump. But I think Gumball, who was going to, for my money, was going to win in Cheltenham last day before coming down to last, was trading at about 4s on in the exchange or 3s on in the exchange. I think he could trade shorter in running. I wouldn't mind having a free bet about him. So if Charlie can go on there, Gumball, he's 7.6. What I'm going to do, Charlie, I'm going to have 50 quid on Gumball at 7.6. Or 7.2 now, by the looks of it.
We're all holding our breath.
There we go. That's the 50 on there. And then what do you want to lay him back and running, do you say?
No, place that bet, yeah.
He knows what he's talking about. I'll post it.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's been on this side of the fence for a while.
Lay side and click lay, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you, on the box where it says backers odds, if you take that down, or you can cancel out of it and take it down, but I'm going to take it down to about the 2-to-1 mark, so 3.0 or like three flats, yeah. You could either do that by just.
What can I do?
Type it in, can't you?
Yeah. Just type it in.
Yeah, you can type it in, yeah.
There we go.
We ain't got a lot of time, Poste.
Yeah. I'm under pressure in my ear here. How much then?
Go over and click backer stake 50.
Lovely.
And we're confirming that, yeah?
Click
this
place
is the
bet,
angle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Click confirm bet.
Yeah.
Right, and then there's a keep tab. See on match bet, the bet's not matched. You
Keep
go up
in the
a bit.
middle at the top there.
Yeah, and see where it says keep.
Yeah.
You click keep and update.
That's the absolute key.
That means it doesn't cancel when the race goes in play. It stays live. So we've kept that bet.
Okay.
So if Gumball hits around the 2-to-1 mark in running, we'll take our 50 quid back out of it. We could have a free bet.
Perfect.
Great stuff. I tell you what, it's 2 trades. Well done, Posty. I'll tell you what, you've just taught yourself another. He's back tomorrow as well, but whether he's doing.
I'm on the computer tomorrow again.
We've got Keith Melrose back in tomorrow, though, Barry. You'll be delighted to know. Okay, listen. Let's get back to the race then. So Barry's. There has to be an angle, and this is why Barry's so good on this show. He will teach you. If you look at it, something I can't bet this race. I want some interest, though. Barry will give you a different angle. So many ways to play on the exchange. This is just a good thing. Crack on with it. He obviously hosed up to there on his chasing debut. Altior did win this, of course.
Yeah, I mean, look, he ticks all the boxes, doesn't he? I mean, I think what's interesting is Gumball is going to hopefully give him a good gallop to run at, isn't he? So we're going to get to see a bit more from him, like I say, with a lively opponent that's going to go off in front of him. I thought maybe the interesting one was maybe Elusive Bell at a forecast, as in I think if Gumball makes it a good gallop, I was quite impressed with her at Newbury the last day, and with again her fillies allowance, I think she's getting 7 off them. I thought possibly she could maybe be one in a forecast.
For Sam Whaley Cohen, of course, that would be interesting. Batch.
It'd be interesting to see how Gumball jumps the first 2 fences, because that was a heavy old fall
It was a nice
Cheltenham,
football,
and
yeah.
it sometimes they've done plenty of schooling down at Hobbsies, but when you're schooling at home, you wouldn't go as quick as you are in a race. So he might be a little bit rusty over the first few, just a little bit careful. So it'd be interesting to see how he jumps the first few. And I agree with Posty, the Elusive Bell could be the good forecast interest to see how Gumball's jumping. But Shishkin, utterly impressive here the last time. So.
They're going to be hoping, aren't they, if you're in Team Henderson camp, who took out the first race in these colours, by the way, at that juvenile hurdle. So they're already got a little bit of pressure off, haven't they? Because let's face it, yesterday wasn't a great day for Henderson either. Santini didn't really show up, did he? And he had a couple of reversals elsewhere.
Could you have expected Santini to show up? In all honesty,
I heard someone say this morning he ran quite well at a track he didn't like. I thought,
I want to see the blinkers on for the Gold Cup. That's what I'd like to see.
I think he needs 4 different types of headgear, doesn't he? I am being a bit harsh on him at the moment, I must say. But yeah, no, not for me whatsoever. But actually getting a lead on Shishkin is something that they're going to relish, isn't it? Because you know what it's like in these novice races. The trainer will come up to you guys and say, obviously, if there's no pace, guys, crack on. But we need to teach him something before we get into these championship races, right?
Yeah, and that's a good thing about Gamble. He's bound to go out and give him a good lead. So this would be ideal for Shishkin today. And to say that the owners as well, they had a win in the first race. And then, obviously, Asterian Forlonge fell yesterday. So. Yeah.
Paul Nicholls has got a very good race record in this Wayward Lad Novice Chase. I think he's won it 4 times from 8 runners, actually, so 50% record.
I think between Henderson and Nicholls, they've won it 8 times in the last 10 years.
There you go. So an Armad sticking out there, of course, for Gary Morton. Ben Pauling last year, wasn't it? Of course, saw off Rouge Vif. They both take each other on in the Desert Orchid. Tamarack Damathon really impressed me. He's gone up £10 in the handicap for that. And the fact that they're coming here rather than maybe aiming towards, some. Let's face it, there are quite a few 2-mile handicaps over fences for him. I think he was due to run in one and it was called off. The form hasn't really worked out, but he did half impress me. He pulled his way all the way through that. He
was very good and he jumped very, very well around Wincanton, which can be a tricky track to jump well and to jump round. So that will stand him in good stead. Like you say, the negative is the race hasn't really worked out at all with anything that's come out of it. But you've always got to respect the fact that Paul Nicholls is pitching up here rather than taking use of the handicap mark, which doesn't look insurmountable really still,
You would think he's got a huge task to climb to beat these, the front 2. It's interesting, Nico's got his feet out there just to relax Shishkin there, so he probably just gets a little bit wound up, but he looks very relaxed at the start there.
He did remarkably well to win the Supreme, didn't he? And of course, he looks, despite the fact that they've got Allard, who was very impressive at Ascot, him and Mboyal on there, they are dominating these anti-post markets. What price is he pre-race, Barry, on the sportsbook for the Arkle at the minute?
Last time I looked, he was a 5-4 chance.
So what, again, we spoke about this yesterday with Epatante, didn't we? Of course, got turned over at 6s on, and we said, if surely they're not going to trim him then, are they?
No, I wouldn't think so. You couldn't. He's a 5-2 on chance now, or 11-4 on.
Yeah.
What's he going to show us? Just that he can jump around again. It's not in terms of opposition. It's 7-1 bar at the moment. So Gumball may put it up to him, but if he's to remain a strong favourite, he'd want to be winning convincingly. Anything other than a really convincing win and a really convincing display of jumping, his price wouldn't change.
Yeah. Okay. So we of course do see the big hitters come here, don't we? Sprinter Sacre, of course, when he saw off Pedlar's Cross. Simon Sig came here. It's where Henderson runs his real big hope, and Altior, of course.
Yeah, that is not the issue with the sort of race at this time of year. He really has to win, doesn't he? And has to win impressively more than anything to keep his reputation intact moving forward. Big problem with the Mboyal and Shishkin thing is we're probably not going to see that showdown at Cheltenham Mile because they'll be in different races, which is the frustrating thing about it at times.
At the moment, certainly not. They're going to try and keep them apart, but it does look like we've got 2 absolute hot pots, and punters like that out there, don't they, when they come into the
You would want to keep them apart, though, wouldn't you, really? If he was
I'd like to see them have a go against each other. That's what it's all about, isn't it? As in, we want to see them clash.
Sure, down the line, that's going to be on the list.
They've got to down the line, surely.
Shishkin, of course, he's a horse that they thought might stay a little bit further when he graduated. Of course, not one of these sort of racy types, and he's doing remarkable well. Okay. They are ambling around down at the start. It'll be interesting to see here what Harry Cobden does on Tamarack Dumathan, the representative from Paul Nicholls, in the Surname colours, of course. What happened to Surname yesterday? Still burnt fingers a little bit there. Let's hope you've been looking at your members' clubs to get all these post-race comments that have been coming in, the quotes where horses are going. Fabulous time of year, isn't it? We're really now up and running with the jump season. Barry, just before they jump off, then still hard at 3s on.
2-5 now, 1.40. It's 7.8 Gumball, 11 Tarmac, and 13 Lucid.
Thank you very much as they jump off and running. And as expected, Gumball does go to the front under Dickie Johnson. Really enthusiastic grey, isn't it? Wonderful to see. Matty says it will be key how he jumps the first couple. He's coming up to it then, taking a stronghold from Shishkin, Tamarack Damathan, and Elusive Bella at the moment out the back. Yep, and he's over fine. How was he, Matty?
Yeah, he was a little bit hesitant. He just jumped through the top of it a little bit. I'd like to see him a little bit more fluent at these next 2, to be honest.
And he comes thick and fast, of course, in the home straight. I'll tell you what, Shishkin... can we agree that Shishkin's a bit keen, Charlie Post?
Come
on!
Look, he's travelling strong, but he's a very good horse. You'd like to see this, this is not a concern to punters right now.
Okay, all right then. So here we come up to the third, isn't it? Over the he flew
Pleased
that
with that,
Gamble.
yeah.
That was better. I don't know. Shishkin wasn't brilliant at that. Elusive Bell. She wears a hood for good reason. She can take a strong, keen hold. I'm sure he'd agree with that. Charlie Poste.
I would agree with that, Dave. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
And so, honestly, these jockeys, they never have it when you say he's keen. You know, the comments in running, he wasn't keen. What are you on about?
for our
travelling
next
like a
Betfair
powerhouse.
feature, we're going to get you to ride, and then
Yeah.
you can learn a bit more about it, Dave.
I tell you what, scary creatures, horses. When they stand on their hoofs, they're 3 times bigger than humans. But terrifying
Dave, you know when
creatures.
a horse is keen when the jockey's feet's up by its ear holes.
Right,
And
okay.
they're
Is
not
that-
there yet.
You just say ear holes there, didn't you, Matty?
Ear
Good
holes,
stuff.
yeah.
All right, so off we go then. And it's, again, he's kind of settled the anchor down a little bit, Barry. So they're on the far side. Over they go. Everything's over fine. What's the market saying then? He can't have drifted at all, can he?
No, he's bang on 1.43, Dave. It's 6.5 now. Gumball has come in significantly. Tarmac is into 8 as well. So the others around him have shortened up because they're jumping well also. They're all travelling well in themselves, I think it's fair to say.
If anything, Elusive Bell perhaps just slightly outpaced. But Tamarot Dumathan, I'm very interested to see what he's going to do. The horse that Shishkin beat first time up over fences here, Mick Pastor, Harry Cobden was basically strangling him over the last 2 because he's JP. It's all about the Grand Annual for that horse. Keep that horse in your tracker. It'll be interesting to see what they do with this chap, whether it is about the Grand Annual, whether they fancy their chances of putting up to him. He just switches wide there, Harry Cobden. What's that about, Batch?
Probably just wants to see his fences a little bit, and he's travelling well, so he just probably wants to give him a little bit of room. And he was stuck behind Shishkin there, just had a little slap down the shoulder.
He was a little bit tight into that. Elusive Bell still observing from rear. Shishkin, if anything, I think Nico wants to press on a bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, Nico's been switching his line a bit, though, not making it easy for Harry Cobden following him. He's been coming inside and then drifting out again, but it seems like after Nico looked at Shishkin looked a bit cold down the back over the 2 across the top of the track. He's come hard back on the bridle now, and he's travelling best of all, I would say.
We're about 5 or 6 out then, I think, aren't we, in the minute? And Gamble really came up well there.
Tarmac didn't have that.
Tamarot wasn't so great, was he? A bit skew-whiffy, inexperience
yeah.
showing there. I'll tell you what, Elusive Bell is going well. Charlie Poste fancied that to run a big race. Here we are then. This is 5 out. And Shishkin, but was a little bit
It was
clever
good.
there.
It was very clever
Very
there,
clever
though.
there.
Isn't that interesting? Because some people would have that down as an error, but no, that's very. And again, this is just his second start over fences. So we are approaching this home turn. Gumball's still going all right, isn't he? Tamarak comes back on the bridle. He's not out of this. Elusive Bell got to run about 2 lengths to make up now as they go into the home straight. What's the market saying, Barry, with 3 to jump?
Yeah, still 2-5 about the favourite. 10 Gumball and 9-2 now. Tarmac.
Yeah, Tamarak Damathan, he could be the big player, couldn't he, for Shishkin? This is where we expect Shishkin to really take off, though. Gumball looks like he's beaten now. Yeah, he walked through that third last, so it's a 2-way play. But Shishkin, he's oozing class as he comes to the second last. Look at this. This is the Arkle favourite with right. Tamarak Damathan running an absolute blinder, not totally done with. Popping up the second off. Perfect again from Shishkin. He has a little look there, Nico. Happy days. This is a photographer moment, Batch.
Photographer moment.
Coming to the last. He's got the race sewn up.
Hold your breath.
Hold
This
your
is the
breath.
1, second leg of the Maggie Triple. Oh, he's over absolutely fine. Tamarak Damathan jumps it in an honourable second. Elusive Bell ran down that one when well held in third. Gumball, he ran his brains out up front. But that was absolutely what you wanted to see. 2 from 2. Shishkin, the Arkle favourite. Perhaps he will harden up a little bit now, Barry Orr. That was impressive.
Yeah, it was very, very impressive. I suppose he's done everything asked of him again, hasn't he? He's jumped really well. He was a little bit keen earlier on when he got Nico out of trouble, or Nico got him out of trouble, whichever way you want to look at it. With 2 jockeys on the panel, they might say that Nico got the horse out of trouble when he got a little bit
Horse got him out of trouble, Barry. Right about that.
They fancy a comeback, didn't they, I think? Well,
But you're still riding, Dave. You keep saying this.
he'll be at Plumpton on Monday.
Come back, I've never arrived.
Hey, not having that whatsoever. Now listen, if you're Nico, you're coming back in now and you're saying, to Endo, that's this is exactly what we wanted. He's exactly where we want him to be. Do you think they'll give him another pop maybe at Newbury?
Could go there. Warwick for the Kingmaker, maybe. I mean, no, it's probably a bit soon. Whether he'll want to get, I'm sure he'll go somewhere else with him before the.
Could he go to the Game Spirit potentially? Do you think? He's done. Did Simon Sig do that? I seem to remember. He does do it with an.
I think did Alcior not do it? No.
Was it Alcior? I can't remember again. Listen, viewers, help us out with this. But Henderson is not afraid, if it's looking like a slightly diluted Champion Chase division, to take his Arkle hot pot to the Game Spirit. I mean, actually, it's perfect.
Well, I think it's a beautiful track. You're always going to get a small field, and as long as he's not going to go there with Alcior, which I wouldn't see him doing, it might be very much an option for Shishkin.
Nico will be so pleased after today because the first day today, it was literally, you would have done more at school and at home, Charlie, wouldn't you? He's just popped round, he's done his job. But today, Gumball set a nice pace. And as you said, the full flask, when a horse does that, Nico's gone in, he sent him, and Shishkin said, no, I've got this. He's put down on him, but he was so clever.
Lot to like about that,
Lot to like about that. It just
Is that
shows...
down to an experience then, do you think?
No.
Not at all, no. It's just the horse knowing his job and saying, it's all right, I've got this. And to say, right, no, I'm going in short. It's from a jockey's point of view, you'd absolutely love that, Charlie, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And like anything, it's just a matter of opinion, isn't it? No, Nico thinks he's seen a long one there, and he's gone forward to ask the horse to lengthen in and quicken to it. And Shishkin's probably thought, you know what? I think it's a fraction too long. I'm going to put in an extra stride. Now, what can happen often with a horse that's maybe less intelligent or not as well balanced and athletic is they then put into the bottom of the fence and end up knuckling over because of it. So the fact that even though Nico has increased the tempo into the fence, that Shishkin has still managed to sort his feet out and got in tight and nipped up over the back on the other side is a real positive moving forward.
He's not just, an expert now on Betfair. He's a jockey's coach as well, don't you?
I know, yeah. I often ring him up.
This is absolutely. Listen, this is what you get here on Racing Post Live. You won't get real-time analysis anywhere like it, and reaction as well. We've seen 2 worldy performances, haven't we? Altior still to come. Grade 1 action coming up next at Leopardstown at 1:45. To remind you as well, you just have to comment if you're on YouTube or Facebook Live to win one of these bad boys. A bit of merch, chaps. What do you reckon? A hoodie.
When do we get the stash for
branded?
For being here?
There are quite a few of them out there.
Oh, lovely.
There are quite a few of them out there. We thought they were going to make us wear them, actually.
Any extra small?
This one, I'm not sure whether this would go.
No, that looks like a tent to me.
I'm holding it up. It's a good blanket. But listen, just make your comments out there. Comment anything, quite literally. And up until now on the 29th, you could be the lucky recipient coming your way. Okay, then. We've got 3 social media comments coming up, as if by magic, on the screen. Who opens the show? Wayne Ryan. Good to have you, Wayne. Overrated and hit flat spots, lads. Seriously, I know you're wanting to be an aeroplane, but I don't think so. Are we talking about Shishkin there?
I mean, look, I think Wayne is right. He did hit the odd little flat spot, but it was a new test for him going that quick, But I thought he passed it with flying colours.
Yeah.
I think Wayne's a hard man to please.
I think Wayne Ryan is a hard man to please, Wayne Ryan.
You want to buy him a Christmas present, oh Wayne, would you?
David Hennell, Shishkin only has to turn up at Cheltenham, a very good horse. As an analyst, when you analyse these races, what you try and do is you try and look for reasons. You try and criticise first and foremost. You try and find the flaws. It's hard not to gush after that.
When you look at that, as in they've gone a good gallop, and yet he has absolutely flown through the line. He's hit the line so strong.
And I bet you that second will be a good horse. The 5-year-old Tamarak Damathan. He could be a decent horse going forward. Considering he made that error on the far side and still came back with a chance. I think Nichols will be happy with that. So Paul Nichols has had the 2 runner-ups this year to Shishkin. Watch out for them in handicap company down the line. Barry, shall we move on? We've got to go back to Leopardstown. You must be loving this today. It is only the Paddy Power Future Champions Novice Hurdle Grade 1 action. We usually see the Supreme winner, or roughly there or thereapouts here, don't we?
Yeah, I think the great thing here is there's 10 runners in it, Dave. A lot of the times these are single-figure fields, but it's really hotly contested this time round. Obviously, you've appreciated who finished second in the Champion Bumper. He won well in Cork. In the second, it was a 50-1 chance that day. I was questioning the form, but the second has won well since, so it stacks up a little bit. But Ballyadam, I think, is the one to beat. He's the Grade 1 winner in the race when he took out the Grade 1 in Fairy House, albeit off a steady pace. But all he could do was win that day. Although he's weaker in the market, he's at the 3.4. Appreciated is 3.1. Ngolo, who was ran in that race as well, is 9.6. He could be there or thereabouts as well. I think he might want to step up in trip, but a really fast run race here could suit him. But I just don't know who's going to be making the pace, although he could potentially make it himself. But the one I like in it is the outsider of Gordon Elliott's too. It's Call Me Lyrene. Won in Tramore, a maiden hurl, then won a novice hurl in Sligo. Not tracks you'd associate with Grade 1 contenders, but he went to Nacedown and won a Grade 2. And they just haven't got to the bottom of this horse yet. They really don't know how good he is. And I think he's a horse that's on the up, and he's worth a few quid on the win and place. So if you go to the win part at 17 there, I think that's a really fair price. Have 25 quid on the win for me, please, Charlie. So pretty straightforward, 25 quid. Place bet, confirm, and we're done. And then if you go to the place, it says place. So this is traditional 3 places. So just where it says place, click on that. and over to Call Me Lyrene, about 11 to 4, 3.7. If you click on that, or even 3.5 will do. I want to be a price taker here, not a price maker. So you click on that, put 25 quid in.
Yep.
Place bet. Confirm. And if that's not all matched in one go, it will get matched eventually. So I'm happy there in the winning place. So obviously the win part is the decent win. It's win us 362 quid, and we're just covering ourselves with a bet in the place market where if it finishes second or third, we also get paid. So you Call Me Lyrene, I just think a bit of an unknown. Like a lot of them in here, you could make a case for several of them. You really could. The Devil's Coachman was a nice winner down in Cork, and the form has worked out well since there as well. And, you know, it's a really, really hot race this year. It's great to see.
Yeah, 10 runners. Absolutely right, Barry. And Barry taking on the big two in the market. He does this with success, as we know. You've got time to react
so
to
far
that.
today, I haven't.
Wow, listen, you can't keep a good man down. You got off to an absolute flyer, didn't you, with that Killer Clown yesterday? Listen, but it's one of those, Barry. Listen, lots of people would have done this treble today, your Chacun Pour Soi, your Shishkin and your Altior for good reason. If anything, the most vulnerable leg might be coming up at 2:30. I was tempted by the Devil's Coachman, Barry, for Noel Mead. I mean, you've got to go back a long way since Noel Mead won this race, but you used to have a very good record in it. He's a fascinating horse, the 4-year-old, isn't it? It's just whether he might jump out to his right slightly going this way.
Yeah, and it's a big ask for the 4-year-olds, isn't it, as well? There could be a chance he'd jump out to his right. Obviously, in Cork, he did a little right-handed course, but like the form did work out, Dave, and you couldn't be put off. There's so many unknowns in here. That's why anyone who's taken, 2-1 about the front two in the market, which in such a competitive race where horses can come forward, 10 or 14 pounds easily, it's very difficult to bet with any confidence. That's why I'm happy to go for an outsider in it that they haven't got to the bottom of. He's 3 for 3. And he's a horse that's obviously improving to step into a Grade 2 after winning Novice Hurl in Sligo. Noel
Mead, who trains the Devil's Coachman, of course, will know all about Ballyadam. He's saddled the runner-up to that chap over hurdles the last twice. Ballyadam, when he won it down Royal, is 4 to 6 on. It was pretty much a demolition job, chaps, wasn't it, for Sheveley Park? Sheveley Park's, their investment has been nothing short of remarkable, isn't it? They're throwing a few quid at it, and as a pinhooker yourself, Charlie, have you been in the ring when they've made some of these audacious bids?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's quite phenomenal, the interest they're showing. I mean, as far as I know, it's the son that the Thompson's son that loves the jump racing, and they're certainly putting their money where their mouth is. Then
Chris
they were
Richardson doesn't get off the beach in Barbados for this one. Is that what you're saying?
They are, and they were back at the Tatch Cheltenham sale was moved to Newmarket there recently, and they were spending 450 grand on another one to go to war with.
We could digress about this. I've spoken to you about it quite a bit, but the top end of the market, if anything, it's taken off, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably half a dozen real big hitters at that level of the market, and they are competing in the sales ring just like they're competing on the racetrack. They're big commodities, these top level lots.
Yeah, tiddlywinks, some people have called it to me, amongst the top players. But it's great to see Batch, isn't it? And of course we see these stars coming up. Could Ballyadam be one? Is that the one for you, or are you looking elsewhere?
Yeah, it could be. Appreciate it as well. It's second in the champion bump, but I do like Ngola because it's second, finished only a couple of lengths behind Ballyadam, and as Barry said there, a lot of these horses are improving, so they could come on again for each run. So it's a nice price, 8 to 1. Ngolo for me, I'll give it a good chance. But as I say, there's so many horses here with potential, and they just keep improving with every run. So it'd be interesting.
Started in July, Ngolo, which is really interesting. And the market's never totally been with him recently.
My only concern with Ngolo was like last time, I think it was quite a slowly run race that Ballyadam run, and Ngolo's got a good flat speed, and I just think if it maybe off more of a stronger gallop, will that help Ballyadam more rather than Ngolo? I don't know. But what this race is it's just full of potential stars, isn't it? As in, like Barry said, Call Me Lyrene is unbeaten, done nothing wrong, and it's 12 to 1 in this, and that shows you the depth here.
Nothing has actually gone on with it. In fact, I think it was Ngolo in one of his earlier races, probably when they just thought, let's just keep him out of trouble and just get this done. But Paul Keeley's made a very coherent case for this. He's also said that Willie Mullins tends to win it with second and third strings as well. Appreciate it then. They thought it was an absolute certainty. Barry, let's come to you with this. Coming to the Cheltenham bumper, 2 out. It looked a case of how far. And then, of course, he got picked up by Fernie Hollow. Fernie Hollow, sadly, on the sidelines. He looked like he was going to be a top novice, Fernie Hollow. I think we can say that this season. I mean, this is a horse with a serious engine, right?
Oh, very much so. And I think he was a better bumper horse than Ballyadam as well. Ballyadam would need to jump better than he did in Fairyhouse to win this too. Like, he was a bit sticky, especially at the last when he was really They needed Jack needed a nice one out of him. He just got a little bit tangled up, but appreciated what he did in Cork was very impressive. And like I said, the form stood up there as well. And he was a better bumper horse than Ballyadam. The money has come from now. He's into 7-4, having been 9-4. And Ballyadam's going the other way, is out to 5-2. And Golo's on a bit of a slide as well. Has been some money for Call Me Lyrene. Our Fire Attack, there's been a few quid for that, around the 14.5 mark now. Fire Attack haven't been around 16, but yeah, just appreciated. Probably a worthy favourite in terms of what he's done in bumpers. But if you're backing on what they've done over hurdles, Ballyadam is the one that should be favoured at the head of the market, having won a Grade 1 already.
Yeah, the Royal Bond is usually the path for this, Barry, isn't it? I think he deserves to be outright favourite. He's a 6-year-old, appreciate it as well, which means he'll be a 7 come Cheltenham time. And I think did Black Hop win it or Somerville Boy, didn't he? They won one of the championships.
Somerville Boy, I think, won it.
Yeah, it's a no-no usually for a novice. The younger horses hold sway, so that put me off appreciate. I must say, I know he was only 1-12 when he won. He's got some engine, this horse. No surprise if this is his big day, but I wouldn't have him at Cheltenham. How do they stand in the Supreme market as it stands pre-race, Barry?
Let me check for you now. The last time I checked it out, the Supreme, it hasn't been a great betting event so far, the Supreme, off the back of a couple of reverses for fancy horses, but just let me see if I can dig it out for you here.
That tends to happen recently, doesn't it? It has. I don't know, sort of 10 years ago, you'd have a hot pot going all through the winter, an NYLN, if you like we had last time in the Ballymore division.
Yeah.
But in recent seasons, it's been about 4-1 the field in January, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 6 now. 6 Ballyadam, appreciate it. Double that at 12. Dussart is 12. Third time lucky we saw win yesterday, 14. So it's not really a anti-post market that's caught light yet, the same way as you'd say the Arkle has, with Shiskin being a short price favourite, or the Marsh with MYLN. But maybe if a convincing winner here, if Ballyadam was a convincing winner here or appreciated, they would shoot up to the top of the market for sure.
Okay, third time lucky, won well. Posted, didn't he, yesterday? A graduate from your farm.
Yeah.
He'll be looking on from this, I imagine. They think they're going to Betfair Hurdle, probably, don't they? But could he do a My Tent or yours a Kalashnikov, win that and then go for the Supreme?
I hope so, Dave. Look, as in whether he's quite up to being able to win a Supreme, I don't know. But he looks a very talented horse at the moment. He always showed us a lot of speed. Yeah. Jumped very well yesterday. Probably put in a more professional performance. Harry was able to ride him a bit nearer to the pace, which he couldn't do at Cheltenham. And look, he's coming forward the right way, and he I don't think his price is ridiculous,
Okay, Batch, you wanted to say something.
Just about Ballyadam, what Barry said about the mistake at the last here, but it was one of those situations for a jockey. You're coming down to the last post, you know this, and you're on your own. The race is won. A little bit like Goshen used to be. You get from A to B, don't you? And he's coming down, and he was still travelling, and he said, "Oh, just leave him to it." And if you had a horse upside you, you would have probably gone for a big one and gone for it. He sort of left him alone, and again, he was good at it. It wasn't pretty to watch, but he's got from A to B. He's won the race. That's it. Job done.
Are we missing out the last here in the home straight, Barry, again?
First hurdle in the home straight.
First hurdle in okay.
Yeah,
another
they jump it twice. Yeah.
Mammoth run in today. Who will that suit? Will that suit? Appreciate it. Appreciate it 2 from 2, of course, in bumpers. Imperious, he looked at his meeting, didn't he? That was when he became such a hot pot for the champion bumper. This is going to be an absolute cracker. Posted, remind me who you fancied here.
I'm with Ballyadam. I think he deserves to be favourite. The interesting thing, I appreciate, he actually won a 2.5 mile bumper as well.
Yeah.
You don't see that many of those.
And that's why you thought he'd get up the hill at Cheltenham. And was it just a case he was outstayed by Fernie Hollow, who looked like he was a little bit underrated going into that? But from what we saw of him first time up over hurdles, like I say, he was going to be a worldie. What a treat. Let's hope you're enjoying the coverage here on RP Live. Then myself, Dave Orton, Mattie Batch, Charlie Poste and Barry all with you for day 2 of this festive festival. Keep your comments coming in, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook Live. Great to have you. Hashtag RP Live. There's going to be some great highlights, I think, later on in the show as well. We're here for 2 more days afterwards as well. Lots to come. Savills Chase, of course. And then Newbury joins the party for the Challow Hurdle. That's going to be some day, isn't it, on Tuesday as well. Let's get back to Leopardstown. Any late ripples in the market? I guess he's sort of found his price now, Barry. Is he just under 2-1? Appreciate it.
Yeah, 282 appreciated and 3.3 Ballyadam. So they backed both of them into the head of the market. They've almost to the exclusion of everything else, really. So punters seeing this as a dead match between the two in the front of the market. Looks like appreciated is going to be handy, as is potentially Ballyadam. But N'Golo, he looks like he's going to try to anchor him in mid-div.
Okay, fantastic stuff. So this is interesting, isn't it? I mean, Kescon Risk we've not mentioned as well for Joseph O'Brien. Yeah, and Gola kept wide. They are off and running. And interestingly, who was going to go on? Well, a horse that's won a 2 mile 4 bumper. Appreciate it. The Fav kicking on under Paul Townend. He made most, I think, didn't he, on the Chacun Pour Soir. Again, once again, with that long running. Catch Me If You Can. Ballyadam just around about a length off him. Nice enthusiastic hold he's taking. Fire Attack now ranging out and in fact goes on. Paul Townend happy to let Fire Attack go on. Irascible, the other Gigginstown horse we didn't mention in midfield, just off Ballyadam. Kescon Risk taking a nice hold on the inside. The Devil's Coachman, he's going to observe from a bit more in rear. And Golo, happy to give Ballyadam first run, tracking him on the outside. Call Me Lyrene, Barry's Play, just out the back at the moment. And looking on from rear is Jesse Evans, the second string from Noel Meads. Nice even gallop, Batch.
I think they're going a little bit steadier than an even gallop, to be honest, Dave. That's why the horses took it up in front from Appreciate It, just to inject a little bit of pace.
Fairly strung out though, Batch, aren't they? It's interesting you say that.
I think that bit, let's run down the hill a little bit. So just because they're going that steady, their horses just sort of run out of their hands a little bit. So that's it. They're steady. He's steady up a bit again.
Posty.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think the main players will all be very happy with how the race unfolded. And they're probably delighted Fire Attack has gone on and made it a bit more of an even tempo. And yeah, I mean, look, Appreciate It's got box seat with Paul Townend and Ballyadam, main market rival. I'd imagine Jack Kennedy is very happy following him through and seeing how this unfolds.
The big two in the market then pretty much upsides the front running Fire Attack for Joseph O'Brien, one of 2 for Joseph O'Brien in the race. And now they really are strung out. Barry, what's the market saying around about halfway stage?
Yeah, Fire Attack came into 6 at one stage off the back of going off in front like that. But at the head of the market, there hasn't been much of a change, really. 2.82 Appreciated and 3.3 Ballyadam.
Okay, so Appreciate It then. I think he's going to absolutely love the way this is unfolding at the moment. Just looking in Golo, and I think David Mullins on that, probably going to want to start making a move at some point. Irascible, he took that nicely as well in midfield. Kescon Risk catches my eye. The Devil's Coachman wasn't great at that one. Call Me Lyrene out the back as well under Dennis O'Regan, who took out the first race on the card today. Dennis O'Regan, absolutely very easy winner of that first juvenile hurdle. But here we are, we must be around about 3 out, I imagine now. Fire Attack, that was absolutely fine. Appreciate Not so great there.
Just a little bit awkward, but as I say, got from A to B, got the job done, Dave.
The Devil's Coachman started to take greater interest now. Call Me Lyrene, hoping to catch onto him. But at the moment, Fire Attack, he took the bull by the horns early doors and he is holding sway. On the inside, travelling very powerfully, Appreciate It. Ballyadam, he's done nothing wrong so far, Posty.
Not at all. I mean, for the moment, for Jack Kennedy, the race is unfolding absolutely perfectly. He's upside his main market rival. He's got something to aim at in front, and I'd imagine that's his main focus now, is just seeing when Paul Townend is going to commit on Appreciated and have that move covered.
Now on the far side then, Barry, the stands will soon be in sight. Who does the market like?
Yeah, into 11 to 8 now. Appreciated. Ballyadam 8 to 7 to 2. Kirkham Risk has come in for some support, and Fire Attack is still there to end the 7 to 1 mark.
Beautiful scenes. It's such a glorious day in Dublin at Leopardstown, and here they come then. And this will be absolutely crucial. Now, what is indeed the last flight. Jesse Evans has still got something to say at the back. Call Me Lyrene, lots of ground to make up. And Golo wasn't great there. The Devil's Coachman been slightly tapped for toe. This is where Ballyadam's stamina will start to come in. But Fire Attack, he's got them at it at this point. Appreciate it. Paul Townend not going yet. The big two in the market, guys. Or will this front runner hang on?
No, the front runner's done and dusted now. Appreciate it's cruising up by the sides of it.
Ballyadam's just a little bit outpaced then. I can't see anything else getting into it, guys. They're switching. Fire Attack doing his best to keep in there. Here comes Irascible. Kescon Risk. Ballyadam a little bit flat, guys. Posty, this is not what we were expecting. As Appreciate goes clear up the elbow.
Not what we're expecting at all. Appreciate is going to run out a ready winner here and really sort of stamp his Supreme Novice credentials. I think this is a very, very good performance.
So will we see a 7-year-old taking out the Supreme Novice? He's trained by the man, isn't he? Willie Mullins wins yet again the future champions Grade 1 Novice Chase. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? The fact they didn't jump 2 hurdles, probably in his favour, Barry. But this is a horse we now really have to take seriously.
Yeah, you really have to. I suppose he'd only won a maiden in Cork, but he's come and he's beaten the best novice hurlers that Ireland has to offer. And he's beaten a Grade 1 novice hurler in Ballyadam very convincingly indeed, and the rest of them were strung out. It was a funny run race, really, the way Fire Attack seemed to get a bit of a solo in front, but the others just stayed in behind them. And I don't know, the ground is genuinely, it's probably yielding ground up there, so you can't use that as an excuse. The winner's absolutely romped home, and Ballyadam has no doubt ran under underperformed. There could be something wrong with him. They'll probably have to get him checked out, but it's definitely not as true running, I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah, same as Call Me Lyrene. He never picked up from the back, Barry, didn't they? Yeah, Irascible has run on into second, the Gigginstown second string. He looks like a horse that once they get him over a bit further ground, he could have a say in something at the Cheltenham Festival, maybe one of the handicaps. Kescon Risk has run really, really well. Love the way he travelled on the inside. Got a little bit caught tap for toe. That's Sir Joseph O'Brien. I don't know if we can call him second string. Devil's Coachman, a little bit novice on his way around, wasn't he? But if you look at some of the horses that have won this, guys, going down the list, First Lieutenant, obviously, he was a great horse, wasn't he? Cash and Go for Eddie O'Grady, Jezkey, the Tolo Tank, Sizing John, Gold Cup winner, Long Dog, what a horse he was on his day. Aramon, of course, had a fourth in the Supreme, and Abacadabras last year just touched off, wasn't he, by Shishkin. This is the race really for the Irish. So where does he go now, Barry? Do you think he'll go back for the Dublin Festivals, get some more experience, or?
Yeah, the Dublin Racing Festival, the grade one there for him, I'd say, is a Willie Mullins is a creature of habit, and I'd say they'll go there and then straight to Cheltenham in March, fingers crossed. But I'm just trying to figure out the Ballyadam run to form with the likes of Ngolo. I can't really see that just now. Like, has Ballyadam been overhyped? But the way he stopped on the run in, he's virtually stopped to a walk. You'd have to think there's something wrong with him. Yeah. Ngolo was very disappointing as well. Never got into the race. I wouldn't be surprised to see him stepping up and tripping.
Yeah, Ballyadam stopped like it was really heavy ground.
He looked certain to be second, didn't he? Turning in. And something perhaps not right there. You'll get the debrief, of course. You will find out all the excuses in your members club from 6 o'clock tonight. You'll be able to get your tips from Tom Sagan and Paul Keeley. More sizzlers coming your way. It's the happiest time of the year, isn't it? We're having a good time here on Racing Post Live. We go up to Wetherby next to 2:10. We've got a little bit of time between that. Keep your social media comments coming in. Now's a good time to ask the panellists what they think of anything going forward. Cheltenham fancies, what's going to win the Grand National, anything. We'll have it here on Racing Post Live. Myself, Dave Orton, delighted to be taking you through nearly the half-time whistle on this festive festival. 7-year-old then, he's obviously had the odd problem, that winner, Posty, but this is quite literally age is just a number, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, you can see, obviously, he won his point-to-point back in March 2018, and then we didn't see him till November 2019. So whether speculating whether he's had like a slight tendon injury or something like that. But yeah, there's obviously been a little bump in the road. But looking at him, Dave, he looks like a massive physical specimen. I mean, against all those other novice hurdlers, he looked like a giant, I thought, going around there. He had loads of like size and depth to his chest and height. Like, he's a big scopy horse, so probably a bit of time won't have done won't have been the end of the world to him. He's by the late great Jeremy, fantastic side.
Amazing that story, isn't it, Jeremy? Yeah.
And to me, he looks almost well equipped for what can be a rough old race of Supreme Novice, because he's got plenty of size to bully people around, and Paul's going to be able to ride him up there in the van, which is probably where you want to be, box seat round Cheltenham. He's not going to get intimidated by the rough nature of the race, and he stays a bit further, as we said, with the 2.5 mile bumper win. And right now, again, he's ticking a lot of boxes. He's a worthy
what the ground
favourite.
does.
No, I don't think so. And to win a Supreme, you do need to have a little bit of toe, which he's clearly got, and you do need to stay posted.
You do.
So
100%.
And he's got all them attributes.
The only thing that would worry me is if we ended up a real good ground first day, would be my slight concern. I don't think he's done a lot of racing on ground that's that lively, as in.
Jeremy's
never going to happen though, Charlie, is it? It's never going to happen again.
Well,
no, I mean, that's a fair point. Yeah,
if you think it's the first race of the festival as well, let's get a social before we wrap up on Appreciate It, what we've got coming in. Stephen Loftus, good to have you on, Stephen. Perfect horse for the Supreme. Up with the pace, stays further. There you go, what the guys are saying, basically.
It's 5 from 12 for the Supreme.
5 from 12.
5 from 6 for the Ballymore.
It did seem a little... Oh, that's interesting. It's going to be Supreme, you'd imagine, wouldn't you?
You would have thought so.
Is that value, Barry, do you think, or not?
At 5, no, you can. Not for me. It wouldn't be, Charlie.
No,
I wouldn't be investing in it at that price. Like, they're gonna, unless he comes and he really destroys them at the Dublin Racing Festival, and nothing appears from the UK. Like, there's nothing to take on that third time Lukey or anything else that the likes of Nicky Henderson might have up his sleeve that we haven't seen yet. Well, then, they're.
Yeah, Flinter Sackler is the.
What about the lad that won at Newbury the other day?
Yeah,
Nical's.
There's
Collard, was it?
Lecal, yeah, okay.
The very expensive pointer that we hadn't seen for a couple of years. Again, same colours as Shishkin.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think
Lecal's
it's
Pride, something like that.
Absolutely. They've also got My Drogo that won the Kennel Gate at Ascot.
Dan Skelton as well.
Beat Flinta Sacro, who's the one that they were really hopeful about pre-season going into it. We've got a quote coming in from Paul Townend before we move on to Wetherby. The Castleford coming up. Can't wait for this. I like one in that. Paul Townend on Appreciate It. The fast pace suited me. Fast pace. I think I called it right, Batch. He's a joy to ride. This win opens more doors for him and he'll appreciate nicer ground as well.
So he thinks he will appreciate it.
He's a Jeremy. You think, with Jeremy being Sir Michael Stout on the flat, wasn't he? It is a remarkable story, this Jeremy. If you don't know, unfortunately, an ill-fated sire, but we cottoned on quite early here at the Racing Post. He's got a remarkable record with his hurdlers. He's had some really good ones, hasn't he?
Oh, he's had some fantastic horses down the years. Don't ask me to quote one off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, look, as in.
And if Poste can't quote one, we're in trouble.
They've
he is the encyclopedia of racing.
And they've been like gold dust, you know. Like all these things, like artists and that. Once they pass away and their stock becomes ever more valuable and appreciate it again is another high class.
The Monet of hurdling sires.
Of course.
You never know what you're going to get here on Racing Post Live, do you? But I'm going to click on Jeremy now on my Raceform Interactive and I'll bring them up. But, OK, so look, this has been a really informative day so far, hasn't it? And we've still got some juicy bones to come. Let's move up to Wetherby then. We had a real treat there yesterday in the Roland Merrick, of course, with Canelo, who Tony Ennis was really keen on here, as he was calling that. It was fascinating to see that, guys. I don't know if you saw it. Tony Ennis was on Canelo, I was on Snow Leopardess. The two went clear in a bombing finish. What you don't know about Enzo is, as commentator, he doesn't mind a flutter.
Don't he?
And that's me putting it slightly politely. But on the track, and sometimes I know when he's on something, you know, WhatsApp me before a race goes, that was good in the paddock, I'm going to take the price. And I hear him calling it. And if it gets into a bit of trouble like this, I know him well. But he obviously got to play it straight back. And here yesterday on Canelo, he was like, come on the bell, Tom Bellamy.
It was a very good ride by Tom as well, because clearly when he hits the front, he just does not do a whole lot. And I say Tom Bellamy's given him a good ride. And
two very well handicapped horses, I think. Snow Leopardess there's a nice race in her. She jumped like a national horse, didn't she?
Yeah, very nice. Yeah,
so will we see a treat like that? Just going back to the Jeremy thing then, I've got his stats up. Al Connor, of course.
Yeah.
The ill-fated Al Connor. Who Dares Wins is a Jeremy. Whiskey Sour, who of course won that race at a Grade 1 we've just had. The Very Man, Silver Forever, Bold Plan. They're all at Happy Go Lucky's decent horse this year. Reserve Tank, Unison. Yeah, so it was all there, wasn't it? So flying the flag for Jeremy. Appreciate it. Did we see the Supreme Novice winner? Is 5-1 a bit of value? Let us know here on Racing Post Live. Let's move on then up to Wetherby, because I think Nutswell is out of this race now, Barry, isn't he? The 210, of course, the Castleford Chase. He would have been a big player.
Yeah, he's certainly one of Dave. Your clear favourite now is First Flow with David Bass, who's 2.22, which is just 5-4. 4.1 Maracuja. Some Rain is 6.4. 7.6 King of May, and Ergon is 33-1. I'm backing First Flow here to lay it back in running. He's the only pace angle in the race. I can't see anything else, bar maybe Some Rain might go forward, but still I can't see him leading. Whereas First Flow, probably a confirmed front runner here. I think he'll get his own way in front, and I think he will win. But I'm just gonna put into lay him back in running again, Charlie, just to take our stake back out, but just in case he does get chinned. But I think this horse could be a good thing today. So 2.24 now. I'm happy to take the price about that.
How much on that, Barry?
We're gonna have 50 quid on it, Charlie.
The silence is deafening as Posty puts his trade on.
Yeah, done
so
that.
far it's been...
Happy days, that's matched. Now go again to the lay column.
Yeah.
Click on the lay column. Bring the backers odds down. You can just type it in because it's highlighted there. Type in 2.5, or no, sorry, type in, what will we go down to? Let's go down to about 3-1 on. Type in 1.33, and we want 50 quid at the backer stake. We're happy to lose 16 quid, 16.50 if it wins, and if he gets beat, we have a free bet.
Confirm that, Barry, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, check him out. Batchy's absolutely loving it.
And we're doing the keep and update.
Let's get an update, and we're on.
Keep bet, yeah.
I tell you what,
You only have to tell him something once, Dave. Don't you?
well, do you remember we did a tutorial about a year ago, Barry, didn't we, in this studio when we were getting everything together, and Poste came in and he literally had no idea what we were talking about, but it obviously wasn't lost on him.
No, I mean, look, I'm glad Barry said that I'm good with instructions. My wife says the same as well. You know? Yeah.
It was a happy Christmas at the Post farm. Happy days. Now, listen, Barry, you said about first flow being the likely pace angle in here. When he won at Ascot on his return off a mark of 148, which was some performance that he beat the likes of Cape Land, and he just got up. He hit the first two fences, if you remember. And some rain, when he fell here 2 runs ago, I tinkered with putting up some rain. He did get on with it. And when he returned to form here last time, they held him up a little bit. I think they'll be keen to do that with some rain again. The horse that might take him on is Maracuja, who, of course, won the race last year when, after a couple of fences...
Do you think he's been teed up for this, Maracuja?
It looks like that might be the case. You should be telling me you're close to the yard.
Well, it looked that way to me. You know, I think he's £3 higher than last year, but I don't think that's insurmountable. And he looks like he's working his way back to form with this as the target. Just wondered if Barry, with first flow, jumping right, would that worry you? He does occasionally do that.
Yeah, he does, but wouldn't overly. I don't think it's anything too pronounced. The only thing about Maracuja for me, I actually backed it that day in Newbury, and I suppose, Charlie, you're saying it's working towards this, so that'd make sense now, but I was a bit disappointed with the run in Newbury, albeit it was a 12-1 chance that day, but the tongue tie, they retained the tongue tie today, don't they?
Yeah. If you remember, Maracuja was in the first flow race at Ascot. Paul Keeley was in the studio that day. And he was quite sweet on him, and he couldn't work it out. I think he had the young lad on it.
Willie Marshall rode him, yeah.
And he couldn't work it out why he'd gone so quick up front. We wondered whether it was to set it up for Amula Gold. Is that right? The first string that was in it.
Yeah, they just got beat that day.
Got beat that day. Looked like it was teeing it up. And at Newbury last time, I thought we saw a little bit more. He is a bit of a character, Maracuja, isn't he? If you're riding this chap, Batch, he's got some engine, isn't he? He'll like the ground, I think. Would you be happy to let him stride on a bit of a character like this, or?
I don't know. With sometimes them characters, they either go one or two ways. You either give them a lead, or they just go out and enjoy themselves in front, don't they, Charlie? And it might just be the making of him. First flow. Listen, Kim Bailey and Dave Basser in absolutely sparkling form. Bassie's probably had a plant-based breakfast this morning, so he's absolutely thriving for it. But I do like Nutswell, the old Rowan Chase winner. I'd give that a little chance as well.
He's a new worldy Bassie, isn't he? Yeah, he's...
Oh, Nutswell's out.
Nutswell's out.
Yeah,
give him a non-runner and a chance there.
Yeah, give him a chance there.
I'll tell you what.
That's the magic of racing. Anything can win, you know.
I know he's not allowed to do the Betfair stuff, but that would have been a pig's ear, wouldn't it?
Shocking. That's what happened when a tree falls on the line, you're late on the train.
I'm a bit surprised that they dropped the King of May £1 for that Newbury run, considering he was ahead of...
Yeah, they dropped him
Maracuja
1 and they dropped Maracuja 2.
Didn't they? So, I don't know. I think Maracuja will fancy his chances of reversing that form with the King of May. He's a nice horse, I think. But it's Maracuja for me. Posty?
Yeah, I'm with Maracuja as well. Nice. Skelton just had a winner at Kempton as well. They're going very well.
Molly Ollie's Wishes. Yeah. I think that won at Hereford. That's a very progressive horse, that, isn't it? So, Batch, you're on the non-runner.
I'm on the non-runner, yeah. Can't get beat.
One from one. I guess he was entered in the Tingle Creek, Barry, wasn't he? First flow. He's actually got a better record on a left-handed track than he has a right-handed track. 4 from 9 right-handed, 4 from 7 going left-handed as well. The fact he was in the Tingle Creek when he's entered in that handicap, Barry, it showed what Kim thought about this horse. I actually interviewed Kim on that Friday, forgot to ask him about the horse. Top skills from me. And it was a proper punt, Barry, as well. And again, he looks like he's got a bit of a legion of fans, this chap, because he's really solid at the top of the market.
Yeah, he really is. He's 2.24 now, 4.6 Maracuja, 6.2 Some Rain, and 6.4 the King of May. Yeah, I just think he's done very little wrong when you look at his record over the last couple of years. Like he's either won or placed in all of his races, bar you have to go back to May 19 when he was out of the first 2. Like he's a remarkably consistent horse for one that jumps out right or jumps out to the left, and the ground holds no fear for him either. I suppose his mark of 154 now at the moment is one of his highest. It's probably going to take actually a career best. But I just don't think, unless Maracuja can improve again on what we saw from that one in Newbury. And it sounds like, listening to Charlie, they will expect that it can. Well, then he could put it up the first flow. But I'm happy to be on first flow. And I think he'll trade short and running again. because there's very little pace angles in there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fascinating to see that. Some Rain does love it here as well. No problems with the heavier ground for him. And I think he's come back in the form of his life, the 9-year-old. Royce Dobbins having a pretty good season. Conor O'Farrell's having a good time of it, isn't he?
Yeah, he's always
Very good on Verlion Rouge.
Yeah, always been a very good rider, and since going up north, it's revitalised his career, and he's getting plenty of good rides and really well deserved. Yeah.
If you start off at the pipes, lads, for example, what we can call a Grade 1 stable, I think we would say that, and you're a young lad, is that because you're thought to be a jockey that's got a bright future ahead of you? And if they don't stay there, for example, or go to a different job, is it all downhill from there? For example, is there a lot of pressure for a young lad like Conor had on his shoulders, staying there at Pond House, for example?
Not really. He's gone there because, I don't know if you remember his brother. His brother was a very good rider, and he came over, good reputation, good rider, went down to Pipies, probably really didn't get the chances he deserved. Scoo was there, plenty of other lads there, and he sort of took it on his own back and thought, you know what, I'm going to try something different. And listen, plenty of lads have been in big yards, and they make that decision to go. You either stay and sort of, you can get second, third string rides and still have good rides. But he's sort of gone, no, I want better for myself. I've gone up north, and it's paid dividend, I think.
Poste?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, what you have to remember is you're utilised by that big yard because of your claim at that stage of your career. So they're using you as an option to take weight off horse in handicaps and whatever else. If you're fortunate enough to build a bit of momentum, you ride through that claim. And once you get to that stage, you either have to be in a position which is often down the time in that you're able to push on and take the big job and unship whoever's stable jockey, or like Batchy says, you end up as part of the team of riders and you accept what you're given and hope that at some stage you might get the promotion to the top job. If you don't do that, then you have to kind of get out on your own 2 feet and try and
yourself
make contacts for yourself. And so I think Conor had lost his sort of position within the pecking order of riders, and he was sort of scrabbling about down south for not an awful lot. And I think, a bit like Sean Quinlan did a few years before as well, he said, well, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move up north, have a completely fresh start, graft away, ride out with plenty of people and see if I can make an inroad. And he did that. And like Sean, I mean, bar Brian Hughes, there's not that many lads up north going better than them two. Yeah. And so, like I say, they've learnt their skills down south, and now they're utilising their experience and their riding ability, and they're getting a platform to show it, Dave. There's a hell of a lot of talented riders within the weighing room that given opportunities would ride a lot more winners. But that's the nature of the job, you know.
It does seem to be quite an even and strong crop of jumps riders at the minute, I think. I think you said that a little bit more on the flat, I would imagine.
There definitely is, yeah. And as Charlie said, there's plenty of lads out there who can do the job. Another prime example for me is Felix de Giles. Now, I think he was like fighting out for the conditional title, riding for Henderson, riding loads of winners. And then, as Charlie explained, you ride through your claim, and then all of a sudden, Henderson gets another claimer. And then Felix starts getting outside rides, and it becomes all a little bit difficult for you because you're not riding them good horses anymore. You've got to ride horses differently. And then he reinvented himself, gone to France, and just gone from good, just keeps going on the up.
James Reevely did, yeah, and running in Grade 1 races all the way, aren't they? What's David Bass like to ride against? He always strikes me as a rider that makes a lot of noise during a race.
Very good rider.
He's
slightly one-dimensional, as in you know what you're going to get. He's going to go forward and he's going to attack.
That's why Kim Bailey likes him, isn't it? Of course.
And this is why he gets on well with this horse, First Flow, because
making his mind up.
He's as sometimes you get a combination. If the jockey is as brave as lion as Bassie, and sometimes the horse isn't, it's not going to end well. But this horse, they're both brave as lions.
The odd thing about this combination, though, is Kim Bailey's as right wing as they come, and Dave Bass is the ultimate lefty.
He's a moon man, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the ultimate lefty. He's a vegan and a lefty. I mean, and you can't believe they get on.
Between them, the centrist rises.
It's unbelievable, though, isn't it?
Who's the noisiest jockey out there during a race?
What, for screaming and shouting
Yeah.
and that? Well, I mean, there's different elements of it because people like roar at them at the end of a race, get more.
Absolutely.
And then people that are getting a bit twitchy do a lot of shouting during the race when maybe they're getting a bit edgy about everything, you know.
Fitzy used to be a shouter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
If we got time, I'll tell you a story later. But
Warren Marston as well,
Warren
at
Marston,
the business end of a race. He was like an absolute grizzly bear.
Was he?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay. So you see these lads, they come from the point to point. So I used to watch Dave Bass when he used to ride for Mad Manners. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Mad Manners, yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What was his national runner? Sean Curran rode
Killishin.
it. Killishin.
There you go. There's the
Yeah,
encyclopedic
there it
Posty.
is.
He's back.
There it is.
It's got my confidence back a bit there.
That's why he gets paid all the dough.
Versatile. I tell you, the senior producers are watching today's show and they're thinking we're going to have to struggle to get him on in the future. He's shown a few sides to his game there a little bit, hasn't he?
I have to revise my contract.
Let's bring Barry back in. Okay, they're about to jump off, Barry. Again, market all about...
Maracuja being very reluctant here.
Very reluctant.
Oh, I don't want to see
Yeah,
that.
all about the favourite, 2.12. Just to say there, Dave, appreciate
Go on,
apparently
Bridge.
Willie Bullen said that Supreme is his highly likely target, so he's 11 to 4 from 5.
He listened to
Clear
us then,
favourite,
Barry,
yeah.
didn't he, Willie? He listened to us on the programme.
he was-
To you, all right.
He's quite right. And Maracuja has... This was a really interesting move by Bridget Andrews. He was reluctant, as Charlie said at the start, but like last year when he made all in the race, they're tearing off Barry. This is not quite exactly what you were expecting, but is he going a little bit too fast according to the market?
Now, the market has him into 3.4 now, so yeah, he's fairly taken off with her, has he?
Well,
If I was one of the other riders now, I'd be really irritated by this because you're supposed to walk into the tapes.
she ran, didn't she?
Yeah.
But because it wasn't going, the Maracuja wasn't really wanting
you
to go.
suggesting he stole a fence
all of
there?
a sudden, it started rattling forward, and the starter really should have stopped them from going there. But he's pulled the tape back, and she's nicked 5 lengths from the field.
So the lefty that is Dave Bass will be grunting away,
Oh,
won't
my
he?
goodness.
Oh, he
yeah,
won't be
yeah.
happy. That's
Okay,
it.
so this is plan B a little bit for First Flow, but he has of course got a target to aim at. The outsider of the lot, Aragon, pulled up last time on his debut for Mickey Hammond. He's going a bit better today in third. King of May, Brian Hughes typically observing from rear, and First Flow's just got that lovely lead. Some Rain, as expected. They held him up a little bit more last time. He loves Weatherby, Some Rain, the 9-year-old. He'll be looking to come with a late rattle as they go on the far side. There was some shocks at Weatherby yesterday. 125 to 1 winner of the first race, of the mare's race. It was that was pretty much the theme of it as it went, despite the fact that the fancy Canelo did indeed take out the Roland Merrick. So in his bid for a repeat win, Maracuja, he can be tricky, he can be a character, but he's got plenty in his favour. And as Charlie Poste said, he stole a bit of that march. Has that taken you aback out there? Are you with him? Will First Flow, let's see how they get the first on the far side. He's absolutely winged that. First Flow had a little bit. Did he get
Bit of a
light
guess.
there?
Bit of a guess
Bit of
at
a
that.
guess there for Batch. The King of May, he's moving up slightly. Aragon's just gone back, and Some Rain was observing from here. They certainly have not hung around. How's this going to sort of?
Big concern here with First Flow now. Jumping, as the confidence in his jumping has gone to bits a little bit. He's wanting to shift a little bit right to make the stride more comfortable for him, and he's a little bit half-hearted when he's taking off, as in he's not really committing to it like you'd want the horse to do.
Okay, but he's still travelling pretty well. As we saw at Ascot, he overcame those early errors. I'd say stamina will come into play at some point. That's what I was going to ask you about, Posty. Maracuja, you know a bit about him. Is she now giving him a breather on the far side?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the speeds that we're getting here, she's not going that quick now.
had a little look there.
Yeah, exactly. As in, she's probably just making sure she's wanting to know how far clear she is. But like I say, she stole 5 cheap lengths and probably did go quick over the first couple of fences, but I don't think they're going overly quick right now, you know.
Yeah, this is key, isn't it? That she's been able to fill the lungs, nothing taken up. And when Brian Hughes starts to move up Batch, you know that he thinks that she's going to maybe steal a march. Some Rain, the one that looks beaten.
Yeah, they're just closing the gap a little bit. I think Nutswell's travelling really well, Dave.
He's having a great time. It nuts well out there, isn't he?
He's just tweeted in, he's just had his lunch at home.
Nuts well observing, thinking, I don't fancy that ground today. So as we move then into the home straight, 4 famous fences to come at Weatherby down the home straight. It can be a long way home. Gone it. Aragon not done with under Becky Smith, filling its lungs for a second run. But it looks at this
First
point,
Flow's
Barry,
beat.
is First Flow beaten?
Yeah, looks like it. Out to 9 to 2. King of May was hit favourite at 6 to 4 there with Maracuja at 7 to 4. So the market seems to think these have it between them.
4 out then and up goes Maracuja. He's actually going rather well. It looks like King of May. Brian Hughes, what will he find off the bridle? That's often what we think. He's cajoling him closer. 3 out, lads.
Yeah, he's just biding his time, Brian. But I say, what did he find off the bridle?
Oh,
he's just going in front now, I think.
This is like Canelo, isn't it? So Maracuja just
tell you what,
starting.
First Flow, guys,
Maracuja's
coming
gone.
back.
First
This is
Flow's
still
coming back.
toughing it out,
We're
yeah.
in for a good finish here because Aragon, the outside of the lot's not totally done with. They bypassed 2 out then. Brian Hughes going for it on the King of May. He was ahead of Maracuja last time. That form will be confirmed. Who's the big player? Could this possibly be Aragon on the inside? Mattie Batch, last fence.
No, I think... First Flow's coming back.
In
He
fact,
jumped
that was
that
two
well.
out. Was that two out? Yeah.
No,
that's
this is
the
it.
last.
This is the
That's
last.
the last.
This is
We're
first
100 yards
flowing
down.
King of May.
It's neck
Boo
and neck.
Barry, you're in. David Bass's lifted him.
Oi,
Absolutely
oi.
fantastic. Aragon
Aragon.
flying at the line. Oh,
held
first
on.
flow. What a finish that
Thank
was.
Dave Bass. That was a
That was-
magnificent ride because he was jumping with no confidence. He was
Wow.
going right. He was
He
under
looked
pressure
beat.
a long way out, and he's managed to get him up.
Ride of the day from the lefty that is Dave Bass. 11-10 favourite Barry. You were confident. Can't keep a good man down.
King of May hit a low of 1.27, 7-2 on. Maracuja hit a low of 2.28, which is 5-4. The winner hit a high of 17. And the eventual runner-up that came from the next parish, the Ragged Field, hit a low of 2-1. It wasn't it wasn't the way I expected a race to be run, but I'll take it. A winner's a winner for charity.
Absolutely.
But just looking back at the rerun of the start there, and she's absolutely done them there right from the get-go, Bridget Andrews.
Yeah.
Maybe not intentionally, because the horse was just was breaking into a bit of a jig jog, and he let them go. It was probably down to the starter more than anything, was it? But she knew what she was doing.
Right, yeah.
You'd be very,
But she took full advantage of the situation.
as Charlie said, as a jockey's point of view, you'll be very frustrated. Now, we go to seminars every 2 years, and you have the starters on there saying, listen, they're doing their job, you've got to respect theirs. So they're all going on about we work together, we help each other out. But the starter there, really, Charlie, was at fault.
Massively, yeah.
Charlie was hit the nail on the head. He shouldn't have let her go like that. She's got a free run at it, and listen, Bassy be fine now because he's
Will he
won.
get a rollicking for that then, of course, at the start?
No,
No,
they
no,
never
you-
do.
No?
No.
You have to doff your cap, Dave.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Still,
yeah.
even in this day and
Yeah.
age, major, whatever, is going to be waiting for you.
Shocking.
I'll tell you what is
Dave.
going to be interesting now. First flow, that was a 154 today. You know, he's going to be not far off 160 when he's reassessed, and he might become a slightly tricky horse to place.
Well, this was a horse that, as I said, was
Tough,
in the
isn't he?
Tingle
Yeah,
Creek.
Yeah.
very
it's-
tough, yeah.
And as you marked beforehand, Barry, he's very, very consistent horse. I think that was a fantastic ride, wasn't it? The King of May with Brian Hughes, do you think he would have liked to lead from Maracuja that bit longer? We saw it with Canelo, didn't we, yesterday?
Possibly, yeah.
When he
I'd
won,
say
you
definitely,
know, up there.
I'll tell you what
Tom
it is.
Bellamy got there plenty
it's
soon
an
enough.
advertisement that for not having a bacon sandwich in the morning, isn't it? And having your granola.
Not for me, bacon all the way.
Hey, I'm a granola man, you can tell, right?
yeah. You can see that,
The
Dave.
lads do say your stamina on these shows is impressive. Because
It's all down to the Bass diet, let me tell you. I might need to take some tips in 2021. Well, that was fantastic stuff. Thank you, Weatherby. 2 races we've had from their at their Christmas meeting, Roland Merrick and the Castlewood Chase could not have served up better finishes. Absolute treat here on Racing Post Live. But it's time to move on. Back to Kempton we go. Sunbury-on-Thames is about to host an absolute cracker. It is the Grade 2 Desert Orchid Chase. It is Altior time. Barry, what price is he getting to now?
He's 189 there, Dave. 190. So he's 10-9 on. He's steady away at that. The lowest he's traded at in this so far as 1.77, and the highest has been 1.99. So he's kind of just settled in between them there at the 1.90. Duke de Genevre is currently a 5-1 chance. So Royal 7.2, 9.4 Roof Vic, and 25 Barba. I tell you, I just think this horse is either going to win or he's going to be pulled up. The whole thing about Altior Gate in the Betfair Tyndall Creek, I think there was more to it than just the ground. I think the horses, obviously, it was a vet certain Cheltenham he pulled out in the eve of the race, and he's pulled out in the eve of the race again in the Tyndall Creek. So they've obviously had their problems. I heard Nicky Henderson interviewed earlier on Racing TV, and he said he's going to need this run and he's going to need another run as well before he even gets to Cheltenham. So he'll either win or he won't be placed in my book. So I'm going to lay him 2 places here, Charlie. So if you click on the standard place market on Betfair, he's currently 2-1 on. If you click on that, and we're going to take 100 quid of the backer stake to lose 50 quid.
So what? I'm backing into 100 quid. Pardon?
No, you're laying. You go go to the place market, click lay, and take 100 quid. So in the backer stake where it says backer stake, type 100 in there.
Yep.
Place bet, confirm. Our liability is going to be 50 there.
Well done, Posty. Happy days.
Yep.
Batch is loving this. he's showing a real level of experience now, isn't he? Like he's been doing this for years.
Yes, he.
like he's been doing this for years.
It's like the sorcerer and his apprentice.
Well,
isn't
it is, absolutely. Fantasia. I'll tell you what, it's been like Fantasia in here at times for me, keeping these two in check, let me tell you.
I'm going to retire tomorrow. I'm going to do a crossy.
It's still amazing you haven't, Batch.
I know, yeah.
Fantastic stuff. So listen, go back to what Barry said there about the interview needing another run. There's only one place for him to go after this, and it is the game spirit. That suggests that Shishkin will have to go somewhere else, obviously. So
I agree with what Barry said. It is worrying when a trainer has already given you the excuses before the race, you know, as in like we had a bit of it at Newbury, at Sandown, the ground wasn't quite right, and Lydia Hislop telling him that, you know, well, the times suggest it's only good to soft, and him saying it's not, it's heavy and whatever else. It did smack of there being more to it than meets the eye. And then for him to come here and in what is relatively not the strongest of races, to be immediately saying, oh, he's going to need this run, he'll need another run. It's almost like he's preempting it not working out, so that we've already been told beforehand that he might not win. I don't know.
Yeah, you know that he would have gone there, at the track today on that drive, and he'd been thinking to himself, well, when Shishkin wins, I'm going to have that, interview pre-Altior that he wouldn't have wanted. Yesterday, when Epatante got beaten, our reporters couldn't get near him. He was not up for comment. And that was the one thing that I was getting through from Lee Mottis headlights that were on track. You're going to have to wait, I'm afraid, for the Nicky stuff. He's pretty livid about it. So that he will have planned out what he was going to say today, I think. Yeah. There will be some very long faces if this doesn't win today. The problem is, if you're trying to, sort of take him on with one to beat him, which one is it? You've got Nube Negra, who's a talented animal, but he's got a good first-time out record. Back from 323 days to Team Skelton, having a great time at the minute. Global Citizen, who of course won the Wayward Lad, beating Rouge Vif on this day last year. Pulled up on his return. Could see him running a lot better, but it's not going to be enough to beat Altior if he's on song, is it? So Royale, beaten by Altior. How many times do you want to get? So is it down to something like Rouge Vif or Duke de Nivra? We quite like Rouge Vif as the angle against him, don't we, Charlie?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the performance at Cheltenham when he won that handicap of 156 was mightily impressive. You know, as in he ran satisfactorily at Sandown on ground that I think we all know isn't for him. I'd imagine the ground is going to be slightly less holding, so less sticky today at Kempton, because that's the way it normally plays out between those two tracks. I could see him being the one to maybe cause Altior most problems, if I'm honest. So Royale is admirable, isn't he? Switching hurdles and fences, and a very talented performer. But like you say, I think he's been beat by Altior on all 4 occasions he ran against him, so I can't see that happening. Duke de Ginevra is an enigma of a horse. He actually probably did run a bit better than on his first run before Nichols at Cheltenham. But put the kettle on, did she really do that much for the form in Ireland? She ran okay, but I just can't really have the horse. You know, he looks to me like he wants to be on a shrink's couch to find out what's wrong with him. Because
I think so. I think so. Yeah, absolutely. He was extremely keen at Kempton, wasn't he? And then he just ran up at Cheltenham. Sorry. If you remember, he's an Arkle winner, though. Of course, and was second in this race last year. So Royale was third in it, of course, on similar ground to today. Probably slightly against him. So is it just all about Altior? Does that make him an even money shot then, Barry? Really?
He's not even money. He's 10-9 odds. If you lay Altior, you're back in the rest of the field at odds against which could be the play, because you have the 3 other ones running for you. The principal's been So Royal, who obviously this is his first run back over fences after the champion chase. Could be suited as well to a return to fences. He won the Welsh National. He ran respectably enough in the Betfair fighting 5th, and then obviously he's 4th in the International. Here you've Duke de Ginevra in there, who was, I don't think the form was that. I wouldn't be that disappointed with the Schlur form after put the kettle on. You know, obviously, Chacun Poursois is a very, very good horse, so I wouldn't be too despondent about that run. Rouge Vic, who was 3rd in the Tyndall Creek, and before that had won that handicap in Cheltenham off 156. He's in there with a chance. But it all takes Altior to underperform for any of those 3 to win. And that's just what you're betting on here if you're laying the favourite, if you're backing something against them. It's just that, you know, there's just a little something up with the horse. You got that feeling of Nicky Henderson. The lads were alluding to it there, the interview with Lydia Hislop on Betfair Tyndall Creek Day. And he tried to ram her down a throat that the ground was heavy. And there's no way it was heavy. All the times, all the sensible people and all the indicators were that the ground was, you know, wasn't good, but it was yielding, probably we'd call it in Ireland, good with a bit of give underfoot. And it was just smacked of an excuse. And even to hear him again today saying it's going to need another run, it just sounds like he's getting the excuse in before the race has even been run, and that's never a good sign.
Yeah, soft ground is actually, it is, as we know, not ideal for him, but he's got some pretty good soft ground.
I was going to say, I mean, for all this, it's like, I mean, I think he's won a Tingle Creek and a Champion Chase on soft ground.
Yeah.
And it's a horse that they wanted to step up and trip, isn't it? So stamina not a problem. He's 4 from 4 around Kempton as well. The tactics are interesting, aren't they, guys? Because Duke Geneva, we think might, it was certainly if Harry Cobden has the same horse that turned up at Cheltenham last time, he's going to struggle to hold him back, I think. Global Citizen is a horse that, when he won on this card last year, he led all the way. Rouge Vif is the one I can see just enjoying the way it's run, I think. If he gets into that rhythm.
The other interesting thing will be to see how Nico rides Altior, because he has had a tendency to jump left on right-handed tracks before as well. So whether that's going to be a factor.
You're not going to want to be on his outside at all, are you?
Well, if you're riding against him, you're not going to want to be on his outside. If you're Nico, you probably definitely want to be near the inside, having someone on your outside to try and assist you to jump straight early in the race.
Wow, fascinating stuff. Are you with Altior? Are you on the treble, the short price treble? Chacun pour soi saluted in the 110. In the 120, we went to Kempton. Shishkin did the job. And now it's all on Altior, isn't it? If he goes in, I imagine, with best odds guaranteed, etc., you're going to be a little bit juicier than expected. 4 to 5 with the books at the minute. What price is he on the real market, Barry Orr?
Yeah, 192 hasn't changed much at all, David. It's not as buoyant a market as I thought it would be. Only 700,000 traded on this so far. Duke de Geneva 5.8, So Royal 7.4, 8.6 Rouge Vic and Global Citizen and Nubra Negres 28 and 40 respectively.
He looks well, doesn't he?
Keep your social media comments coming in. We've got about an hour left on the show. Delighted with the action so far today. You enjoying yourself today, Patch?
Isn't it? Loving it. Listen, I'd love to see Altior win, just for what he's done, his previous record. But as I say, everything what Charlie and Barry says, it's just excuses after excuses. You would have run him in a Tingle Creek. The ground clearly wasn't as heavy as they thought it was.
Got a massive public following.
Yeah.
It's often forgotten about this horse. Beat Big Buck's record, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then they started experimenting. This is a horse that keeps. It was an equine.
Do you know what the worry is? That it's actually going to take away from the horse's legacy all this nonsense about ground and not running him and running him. Because when you go through his race records, Supreme Novice, Arc, or multiple Champion Chase, he's a phenomenal racehorse.
Okay, let's see what you're thinking out there as they get ready to meet the starter in the Desert Orchid Chase. Here we go. Commander Von Rohr comes back onto the show. I had to back So Royale to win this. Is this the day?
No.
Well, 2 places in this. He would, if this had been run yesterday, he would have had a massive chance, I think, Commander, on the better ground. Callum Lumley, good to have you on. Altra Sybil, Altior. Happy days. Finn O'Brien, 5 to 6 looks a crazy price. A lot of people were texting me yesterday looking at the ground at Kempton and saying 4 to 6 on is a great price. So indeed it does. And Jason S comes on. Altior, the banker. This is going to be exciting stuff. I'll call this, chaps. Do you fancy a race after this? And we've got the Paddy Power Chase coming up. It'd be easy for you, wouldn't it?
Oh, I can't wait to get stuck into that one.
You are showing some versatility today, Poste. So,
for sure. I hope Barry's ready for that, because I started when we got told we were doing that race after Cheps had been abandoned. It took me 10 minutes to get to the bottom of the card. There's that many of them.
Listen, we're going to have a little break, thankfully, before we go up to the Paddy Power Chase. That's 2:55, Barry, isn't it? And then we've got the last at Kempton, 3:05. So we're going to have to get our selections in pretty quickly for the Paddy Power Chase. Is there one you like in there, just quickly, so punters can get ahead?
I like 3 at a minute, really.
Happy days.
10-10, I think 10-10 is one that really stands out to me. It looks like a real plot job, and it's in the Golden Green, which helps as well.
Yeah.
Bar Class, I like. I'll get to the reasons for all this, and also Discordantly is another one for the Harringtons that I thought would run well. It's that sort of race you can throw a couple of darts in for small money and have a bit of crack with it.
I did throw a dart in the paper this morning.
Yeah, you usually have a paper batch, don't you? But
yeah, but I found my laptop was working today, so I brought the laptop instead of getting a paper. But normally I get a paper because it's great value. So
okay. He had a bit of a shock.
Odds against now.
Odds against Altior, finally. Wow.
6 on a massive drag now.
What's that about as we look at So Royale being reshod down at the start? Let's just concentrate on that, actually. If you're a jockey and your horse gets reshod, a lot of punters think it's a big neg. Negative. Rubbish, is that bad?
Nah, not at all, yeah. It's just like changing your trainers or your shoes. If you go out and the weather's get rid of the old suede ones and
You look like a Winkle
put
picker.
the wellies on. Yeah,
He's a stylish man. Yeah.
Is he? Is that right?
always have been, Poste. Always
Is
have
that
been.
right? Took a little time to get ready afterwards in the weighing room before
There's
going
a
out.
few of them from Brighton, Jamie Moore and Batch and that. They're sharp dressers now.
The mods
Dave.
down
Yeah,
there in
exactly.
Brighton, yeah. Okay, happy days.
The only thing I would say about this is I completely agree. I don't think it's a concern. The only time maybe if you've got a highly strung horse, Batch, and
Yeah.
then they're getting upset. And it'd almost be more an irritation if you're riding another horse in the race that slightly gets revved up or overexcited, and you've now got to wait whilst they're shoeing the one that's lost a shoe.
That's interesting, and it's important for people to hear that out there because I'm just looking at his price on Betfair. Yeah, it's kind of how it was really, but sometimes you do listen to punters and oh no, one's getting reshot, unbelievable. It's like
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Absolutely.
Out to 2.26 now.
Wow, so we are looking at a real drift on Altior.
I think Barry's might have been
Massive
unbelievable.
drift.
The drift, not the horse getting
I was like, we found a punter that's got a problem with being reshod. But Barry, actually, Barry, let's concentrate on this. Just there about jump off. We're hoping
Ridge Viff is the one now they all want to be with.
All
him.
into
So
9 to
they're
2.
backing them against
see it. Can
Altior.
see it. The ground not ideal for Rouge Vif, but it didn't half look like an absolute monster in that handicap. And as Posty says, the ground would not have been ideal at Sandown in the Tingle Creek behind Political last time. For me, the slight worry about him was whether it comes a little bit too quick for him. I'm not sure, but we shall see. Who's going to make the running here then?
I think Kempton might. He's very handy. I'm going to give this horse another chance. I think they say the change is better than the rest, and you say if you ignore the form we've put the kettle on in Ireland's run today, and yeah, I'd give this horse another chance.
He was second in the race last year on his only previous run at Kempton when with Willie Mullins.
And he's an Arkle winner. You can't take that away.
No, absolutely. Well, it was a tragic Arkle, but he is indeed. It was a cakewalk from. They went too fast. You remember they went.
The race
St.
got blown
Calvados
apart,
went
didn't
off.
it? And then all of a sudden down the hill.
Never mention that to Harry Whittington, that St. Calvados, that was a little bit too quick for his liking. I don't think there was a happy household there. He's got a really fancy runner in the last, by the way, as we go off air for Simon Munir, Harry Whittington. His horse is running a bit better. They had a bit of a problem, didn't they? I think some sort of virus in the yard. It's cleared up now.
Gone for a bit of a quiet spell, yeah. St. Calvados ran well yesterday, didn't he? So.
I'll tell you what, lads, let's just concentrate on him just while we're at it. I was chatting with a friend as I was coming in today, and I said St. Calvados should really be favourite now for the Ryanair. Just touched off in it last year by Min another year older, and he's got the better form than Imperial Aura. I think we have to agree on that, don't we?
He's got top level form, hasn't he?
He
So,
ran a belter,
he did run a cracker, yeah.
Yeah, good form. I'd say it is, if you look at it on paper, he has got clearly better form than Imperial Aura.
Would you have that, Barry? St. Calvados should be fab for the Ryanair?
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with you about that after yesterday. I thought that was a cracking run. Puts him right in the mix again.
Yeah, I think Harry Whittington will be really, really hopeful about that. And I think, hard to argue against that, although much as I like Imperial Aura for the left.
Just flagging up so raw, I think we should maybe mention his versatility, the fact that he's a not far off a top level hurdler and also can switch back and run straight in these graded chases.
And he's been doing it for some time now, hasn't he? His French horse came over as a 3-year-old, he's an 8-year-old now.
And not all horses will be able to do this, to run over hurdles one day and then go and run over fences the next. They are different techniques with the jumping and everything, and for a horse to be able to switch back from one to the other it's quite an impressive thing.
Rarely has a break during a season either, does he?
Like Darryl said when he won the elite hurdle at Wincanton, he said, I promise you could run him tomorrow in a graded chase and it wouldn't matter a thing to the horse. He'd immediately switch back to doing that.
He very nearly beat Altior in a champion chase when he had his ground, didn't he? Do you remember when the cracks started to appear in Altior a little bit? He was ever so close on doing it. This is a big ride for Darryl Jacob, of course. He will be doing everything he can to get revenge and make it fifth time like against
Looks like
Altior.
Global Citizen's going to go forward as well, Dave. Ben Pauling's horse won the Wayward Lad last year.
Spoke to Ben Pauling about this chap. He says, don't worry about that comeback run. There's still a big payday in him. All right, then, get ready. Hold on to your hats. We're off and running and in a bit of a curveball. Gav Sheehan, catch me if you can. Rouge Vif goes out in front. That's an interesting one. Him and old rival Global Citizen eyeballing him at the minute. Duke to Geneva, that means he's settled a little bit better. Altior, right the way on the outside. How does he jump the first? God, he's big and bold there, wasn't he? As we can hear from Barry Nubia Negra and So Royal observing from rear. Going up to the second fence then. This is interesting. What's Sheehan up to here then, Batch? He's taken the lead. Now he's allowed Duke to Geneva to go on.
Yeah, I think they just started to take each other on a little bit. So Gav said, right, OK, I'm going to take a bit of a pull and let you sort of fight it out up front.
What about Altior, Posty? How's he gone after the first couple of fences?
I didn't enjoy watching him balloon the first. He's actually jumped the next two much sharper. Gav Sheehan has actually ended up with the perfect position now. He wanted to get a good start. Obviously, he's lined up wide, wing down, jumped the first. Then the pace has come on from Global Citizen and Duke to Ginevra, and now he's managed to slot in down the rail. So I'd have thought he'd be very happy with how the first few fences have unfolded.
Absolutely fascinating tactical minefield so far out there for the jockeys playing with each other. What is the market saying, Barry, about Altior now?
Yeah, he hit 11-8 after that jump at the first, but he's into even money again. Duke de Geneva's into 7.6 and Rouge Vic into 5.8. They're the two big movers, but the favourite's kind of steadied again in the market off the back of some better jumping, and he seems better settled, although he's got a little hurry up there.
Yeah, and Altior wasn't great there. Nico's just shaking the reins. In fact, he's going to find himself like, whoa, no, he's okay, not quite last. Okay, we're on the famous far side.
So
Royal's actually gone there, departed on the far side. Well, hopefully he's up and running, but we can't see at the moment because Duke de Geneva is absolutely tanking.
What we do know in previous years, like this, the strong pace will suit Altior over this trip, you know, as in if he's anywhere near his best sort of form, this is exactly the way he wants a race to be run.
That little wake-up call, he definitely responded, didn't he? The former champion. Rouge Vif now finds himself in last. I wouldn't be over the moon with how he's going at the moment, Batch, on Rouge Vif.
Not too bad. He's just giving him a little niggle now. I think So Royal's fall, you know, might have not been helped by Altior absolutely winged it. I think he might just half a Lempton bit, Charlie, do you think?
He's spending a bit of time in the air, lads, isn't he? I'll tell you what, this leader at the moment, he's getting a bit of a softie. Rouge Vif, he's just running a little bit
He's
flat
not happy,
for me.
Gav.
Is the Tingle Creek leaving its mark? A Global Citizen. Again, back to the drawing board for him. I think he's finding it all a little bit too hot. Nube Negra's absolutely
travelling well,
tanking. He's a very talented horse. He was a really good novice. Danced some dances in the Grade 1s. Okay, we're around about 4 out then. And over goes Duke de Geneva. Altior, what will he find? He's niggling away. He's just keeping him interested, isn't he? Of course, he's rising 11. Is it a case of him wanting every yard of this now? Duke de Geneva, if you're on him, he's over and then we're coming into the home straight. What price Nube Negra, Barry?
Nube Negra is now into 5.2, 5-2 Duke de Geneva, but Altior's still favoured at odds on.
Despite the fact he's rowing away. Okay, so they think the Altior Turbo will kick him from the third last. 3 go clear. The former Arkle winner, Duke de Geneva, Harry Cobden, he's gone best so far. Nube Negra, though, is in his sights. Altior, he's all flailing at the minute, but will the champion pull it out? Looking for fourth. Rouge Vif has filled his lungs again, but surely left it too late. Okay, third last, here we come. Up and over goes Duke de Geneva. Altior straight as a die, but he's struggling for pace, lads. Nube Negra, what's he going to find? Harry Skelton,
6-4 on, jumping the last.
6-4
Harry Skelton's he's going to ride him with bags of confidence here, and he's going to make his challenge as late as possible.
I think Altior's done.
2 out, I don't know. Here comes Altior. This
responding.
is far from over.
What
will Nube Negra find? This is a fantastic training performance. Graham Rodway, have a look at this. Harry Skelton, Dan Skelton, they're going to take it out, and they Altior paceless. Here he comes to the last. He ran down it. Altior's over in second. Nube Negra, take a bow. The outsider of the lot, punters screaming at the television. What on earth is going on? Altior never really convinced. Was it the ground? Did he need to run in second? Duke de Geneva did the donkey work back in third. Long way back to Rouge Vif in fourth. The others did not finish. Wow, what have we just seen there, Batch?
That was very impressive. He looked the winner a long way out. I would be pleased with the Altior run. Probably 2 mile around a track like Kempton now maybe just catches him out. The others have got a little bit more toe than him. He finished his race well. He hit the flat spot, but he's finished well. But take nothing away from the winner. He's travelled. He got in close to the last. But he was impressive, Dave.
Yeah, though, I mean, you could say that Altior, it's just class that's carried him to the last, isn't it, I think?
I would have said so. I mean, look, is it the worst starting point in the world? No, it's not. Does it tell you that he probably is not as good as the horse that we used to know? I think definitely. And look, he's 10 rising 11 now. You'd be a brave man to say he's going to go back and win another champion chase. Nube Negra, at the moment, you don't want to take away from the performance, do you, and say, oh, the others are all underperformed and he's picked the piece up. I mean, he looks an improver. I'll tell you what will be an interesting quiz question in years to come. Is he the first graded chase winning Spanish-bred horse?
Of course. Who's he by?
He's by a completely unknown centre, yeah, and he had his first few runs on the flat in Spain.
Wow, of course he did, and then he came and he's got a really interesting career actually. I was just looking at his profile, not seen since last season's Kingmaker in February. Was beaten 7 lengths by Rouge Vif around Warwick, of course. So turn that form on its head. Dan Skelton, my goodness gracious me. Chamblou yesterday.
Great day yesterday, yeah. Continuing again today.
Third time lucky in the novice, okay. Could this be the year that Dan breaks through in the championship?
And what is very clever about them, they set out their stall one year to have 200 winners. Logistically, it's a very difficult thing to do. Only Martin Pipe's ever done it before, and they carried it off. And then he was worried about being pigeonholed as a guy that just churned out big numbers. So he cut back and said that he wanted to focus on quality. And right now, Protectorat, Chamblou, Third Time Lucky, Nube Negra, there's all of a sudden a stack of very exciting young horses coming through in the yard that what he's hoping for is going to eventually propel him to have a crack at being champion trainer. I think Paul Nicholls said yesterday he sees him as his main rival coming up on the scene. But what I loved about Paul was he said, I think it'll be a few years yet. As in the competitor.
Master and the apprentice. Yeah, quite right.
A bit like me and Charlie.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I'll tell you what, in a couple of years' time, this will be you, man. You're looking at your future, old boy. I'll tell you.
I'm hoping in a couple of weeks, Dave.
It might well be. It might be tomorrow. It's a rosy time we're having here on Racing Post Live. Thanks for joining us all the way. What action that was. Let us know what you think of Altior. Are the guys right? Will it be a case of trying to find a race over 2 mile 4 on good ground for him now? I don't know. He's an 11-year-old. Listen, Henderson said he would come on for that run. You can see now, I hate to say it, but you can see why they did not want to run him on that tacky ground. They probably knew what they had at home. Of course, Epatante worked all over him in that workout on RTV, didn't they, when they went to Newbury? They knew at home. I said, Nube Negra, goodness gracious me. If you've been back in the rags, I'll tell you what, you've not been doing too badly. Frodon yesterday, 20-1 in the King George. And that was some performance that. We're just watching it back. We can see here. Let's just concentrate on this again, lads. Duke de Neva, he's got him in his sights. He knows what he's got. Harry Skelton, at what point does Harry think, well, I've got to go?
Well, right there. I mean, I think in an ideal world, he'd have liked to have been led even longer to the last, but he just went. Sometimes when you're travelling that well, you've just got to commit because you're almost giving the opposition more of a chance by sitting and waiting.
If you're an owner out there and you're looking at how he can get these horses ready first time up after an absence like that, very attractive proposition sending a horse to him, isn't it? I think.
Oh, definitely, yeah. That's it.
Ticks in all the right boxes.
Just advertising his talent as a trainer, and
I'm not being funny to set one up for those big handicapper, when you go for superb story. They couldn't have that beat one year. Chittabello the same, and then you chuck in Mohamed, and they're not easy races to win big Cheltenham handicaps, especially if you're not an Irish trainer. As in for the Brits to compete, for him to have done that so many times in recent memory, it takes a bit of doing.
And there's plenty of people that go to Cheltenham and try and do it.
Yeah, 100%.
All in their minds, they said, right, we've got this mapped out, but.
I'm trying to think if JP McManus has got horses with him.
He has got a couple,
Has he got a couple? Yeah. It'll be interesting to see which patronage he gets. Of course, it happened with Gordon Elliott. So, Nube Negra, wow, wasn't that absolutely fantastic? A word about Harry Skelton as well. We had Mr. Rodway in the chair that you're in at the moment, the SA Post. You wouldn't be surprised that he's got a couple of opinions about the game.
I'd be disappointed either.
He said, absolutely. And he said sometimes they can be sort of bully horses, you know what I mean? Like, he thinks that Harry's aggressive style of riding, but he's just shown there, hasn't he?
I think he's got a lot more finesse to his riding than that, as in, again, what you did see, and it does show that they're bright guys, because when they first started off, they used to ride everything positively all the time, and what you'll see in recent years, especially with their bumper horses now, they're all slotted in and ridden to finish off, and so I think as they've done more and more than that, Harry's probably become more and more adaptable in his riding style. And I think to say that he's just an aggressive rider is way wide of the mark now. I mean, this is a guy that, again, has come from almost being out of the game from a winner's point of view. And again, shows with the opportunities thing we were going on about earlier. Right now, he's one of the leading exponents, I think. And could he be champion jockey one year? He possibly could, but the difficulty is now the Skeltons are focusing away from just churning out big numbers. He probably needs a bit more support from other yards, bar his brother.
It'll be interesting to see if he gets a bit more from Nicholls as well, winning with Politolog in mind as well. Okay, amazing scenes there. Nube Negra, 20-1 winner of the Desert Orchid Chase, Grade 2. Altior only second. Barry, how's that rippled on Chacun Pour Soir's price then?
Yeah, some anti-post reaction there. Chacun Pour Soir, on his way back to County Carlow in Willie Mullen's horse box, is shortened from 7-4 into 11-8 off the back of that. Altior 6-1 out to 12-1, and Nube Negra gets a show at 12-1 for introduced at 12-1 to the same market champion Chase.
I'm trying to think if he's been around Cheltenham. He probably has, Nube Negro, hasn't he? He was also took I think a bit of time to win after his novice season, wasn't it? He did. Of course, he finished only 8th when he was fancied for the Greatwood. They haven't been back to Cheltenham with him since then, but of course he was 3rd in the Fred Winter, wasn't he, as a juvenile? So one of these horses that's been around. I don't know. Maybe we have seen an outside fly for the champion Chase.
Possibly. I mean, I think what they've probably recognised is, like, again, this constant thing about Cheltenham that we all go on about. There are plenty of big prizes and nice prizes to be won throughout the season if you target them, and I'd have thought they'll enjoy today, and probably today was the target, in all honesty.
Yeah, John Howes, of course, a big patron of the Skelton Yard. He'll be happy, won't he, watching that with Politolog, I think, as well. Probably just about the value, I think, the current champion Chase as well. OK, we're going to move on. We've got around about 10 minutes to the Paddy Power Chase. Delighted to have that on the show today. This long, well-established handicap, of course, at the Christmas meeting. You see Grand National horses get beaten in this race. It's an absolute humdinger, isn't it? Barry Orr, let's have a look at the market, please.
Yeah, so Locks Corner, one of the green and gold of JP McManus, heads to market with main jockey Mark Walsh in the plate at 7.0, 9.2 Castlebawn West, 10, 10, 10. A lot of 10s there. Home by the Lees, 12.5, 15 Captain CG, Park Class 15, Discordantly 15, Dunvegan 15, whole host of horses in there. We'd be here a long time if I list them all off. But yeah, it's always a cracking race, this, and you can go down as many as 5 places on the Betfair Sportsbook. I'm going to have 3 bets in it. And I'm going to have 30 quid on each of them, please, Charlie.
Yep.
First up, we're going to back 10-10. The first time they stepped him up to 2.5 miles in Navan, he won a beginner's chase despite a really bad mistake at the last. And then he went to the grade 3 Flying Bolt over 2 miles, where he stayed on really well behind Size and Potsy and cut the mustard. He had a 260-day break before Nace in a handicap pearl when they brought him back over 2.5 miles, and he had a really good run in it. So he's one that I fancy here. And again, I don't mind taking the price, Charlie. So just 30 quid on that.
Just in the win market, Barry, yeah.
Just in the win market. I'm just throwing 3 darts in the win market here. So 30 quid on 10-10 for the reasons outlined. Yep. Then if you go find Far Class, who's just a couple down there in the Jigginstown colours, we're going to back him as well. So Far Class is currently 15.5. We're going to have 30 quid on him as well. He had a lovely run back after all for over nearly a year, over 2.5 miles in a handicap chase in Punchestown recently. He's a Triumph Hurl winner for Gordon Elliott that they're stepping up to 3 miles. The last time they did that with one of their Triumph Hurl winners, he ends up winning 2 Grand Nationals and all sorts of races at the Cheltenham Festival, Tiger Roll. So I think there could be a bit of a Tiger Roll about Far Class. He's got a nice handicap mark, and it's one that they could exploit here for a big pot. So 30 quid on him as well. And the third horse I'm backing is Paddy Kennedy rides one for Jessica Harrington called Discordantly. Was going to run really well in a beginner's chase in Leopardstown over the course and distance last May. Just breasted the 4th last, I think it was, when leading. And he's a horse that likes to get out in front. I think if he got a solo out in front here today, he could run a really big race at a decent price. So Discordantly, he was about the 15-1 as well. We're going to have 30 quid on that. And they're my 3 darts I'm going to throw in the race. It's like I mean, this is always a very, very difficult race, and you need an awful lot of luck in running. But having said that, I think Discordantly will be out in front. I think 10-10 doesn't mind racing prominently, and Far Class will be mid-div and staying out of trouble with Jack Kennedy in the plate there.
Do you remember the finish last year, Barry? It was one of the commentaries of all time, wasn't it? Roaring Bull! And of course, Fitzhenry is in there. He went off 6-1 favourite for the race, didn't he? Off a slightly shorter mark. He's probably been laid out for this again, you'd imagine. The fact he's much bigger in the betting, but Roaring Bull takes his place as well. The interesting thing that I noticed when you're looking down the roll call of winners, it tends to be younger horses that come to the fore in this. Roaring Bull, Auvergnat, Annabelle Fly, Noble Forever, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds. There's only one 10-year-old in the race. 5-year-olds have won the race as well. They're all usually for the big operations as well. As Barry said, the famous green and gold. So, and they come in with sort of duck eggs next to their name. So don't be put off by a lack of recent form if you just fancy a couple. Who do you fancy, Poste?
I quite liked Dunvegan. He finished 4th the last day behind Castlebawn West, but I just thought the step up in trip might help him out, Dave. Brian Cooper had a big winner yesterday, which was great to see. Confidence high, and I mean, crikey, I think like you've alluded to, you could go down through these and you could have 10 picks and not find the winner. But yeah, Dunvegan, I just thought the step up in trip might be the angle.
Yeah, he's interesting as well, and Brian Cooper as well, who's made a comeback, hasn't he, in recent years after that superb session he had. Batch?
Yeah, I like Castlebourne West, which they finished in front of Poste's Choice, third at Punchestown in a handicap, first run. Again, the step up and trip will suit this horse as well.
Yeah, he's a course winner, I think, isn't he? Just keeping it simple then with Mullins and Townend. Just looking at their record in this race, actually, he's looking down. Not quite the record. In fact, he's had 31 winners in the last 10 years, just the one winner, which was Rockaboya.
I think Gordon's the man, isn't he? I think he's 2 winners from the last 10.
He is. Henry de Bromhead has struggled to win this race. Paul Nolan, 0 from 7. Josie O'Brien, 0 from 6. Thomas Mullins. There's a couple I quite like in it. Captain CJ. For Dermot Laughlin and Conor Maxwell. Watch him back last time over 3-5. Behind, of course, Court Maid, wasn't it? Who came to Cheltenham, ran a really funny race when well fancied. Absolutely flying at the end. It's just whether he's a bit too slow for this. I'm assuming that we're going to have a monstrous run in again. The lack of fences for him would be a slight worry, but first time, so he could go well. I also quite like Home by the Lee. Rob Lee, our producer, pointed this one out to me. 5-year-old. I think he's the only 5-year-old in the race. 6 have run in the last 10 years. 1 have won, and a couple have been placed as well. He's the interesting one, having run behind Envoy LN last time.
Yeah, he brings great. I mean, look, he brings graded form. He's very much unexposed, isn't he?
Yeah.
Could be a potential improvement. I mean, it's hard to kind of equate again his mark, isn't it, and the merits of that, and whether he deserves to be rated a 139. But I suppose he is another of those, like you say, that a younger, unexposed horse that might be suited by this test. That's
the Paddy Power handicap. And we've got one more to come from Kempton for you as well. And just preempting this, I mean, when ITV planners overnight thought, if we lose Chepstow, what are we going to do? They'd have had their plan B. I wonder if they really thought about the times here, because we've got 2:55, which is the Paddy Power Chase. That could, be a couple of minutes delayed if this is how he carried down at the start. 2:55, 3 miles. And of course, we go to 3:05 at Kempton. Which is another 3-mile race. It's going to be thick and fast. You made your first semblance of an error, didn't you? When Barry was asking for the screen, which Batch was silently delighted about. He looked at me and went,
I don't think it was Barry, I think it was Rob. He's getting on at me. I think he chucked me under the bus, giving me this job, and no one even preempted me. And
he'll be directing this show next, won't he? So 2021, he's got director all over him.
And they're going, screen. I'm like...
Absolutely fantastic.
I think I was enjoying watching the racing from Wetherby or somewhere like that.
You quickly recovered, but if we can get the last up at Kempton, then we can tell the guys what we like in this as well, because we're going to be stretched pre-race to talk about it. And it is an absolute barnstorm. It's 4-1 the field. Progressive horses all over the place. Royal Pagale, the only horse that Susanna and Rich Ritchie have outside of Willie Mullins' yard, Barry. He looked like a horse going forward finally for them when hosing up. He took a long time to get on top over 2 mile 5 at Haydock on bad ground when we covered that Betfair Chase day, but he looked like a horse with a big handicap pot in him. Is he your favourite at the minute?
Yeah, he's favourite at the moment, Dave, a 5.4 on the Betfair Exchange, 7.2 Darlac, Mellow Ben, who should make the pace here with Adrian Dupont, are both 8.4, Captain Nord 9.4. We might as well get our bet done now, Charlie.
Exactly.
I fancy Captain Nord at Newbury. I thought that Newbury win was really impressive. I know he got £10 for that, but he's a good young jockey on him. Yeah. He's a jockey that I really rate. I don't think Dave Norton does, though. He's Jack Tudor.
Yeah.
I really like him. I think he's a top jockey. I think he's a jockey going places. It'd be interesting to get your thoughts on him.
The fickle Barry Orr, I'll tell you what.
Dear.
Cap Nord for me. Just got to back him winning place. 25 quid in the win and 25 quid in the place on Cape Nord.
He's got it. Look at the cheeky grin he's got there, Barry Orr. Barry Bandwagon Orr will have to be calling him, I think.
Listen, I was just preempting you. I was getting it in before you did, getting my retaliation in first. You know that.
25 quid win and 25 quid place, yeah?
And 25 quid place. Again, we'll be price takers here. 9.6 is a fair price bet him. I know he got the £10. There was a couple of horses I fancied in it. Royal Pagale, again, was one that you'd have to give a chance to off the back of that win in Haydock. Darlac, I thought, had a big chance as well. He was very impressive last day. So they were the three I was kind of giving chances to, but it just came down on the side of Captain Nord, an improving sort of horse that Christian Williams does well with. And your man's very good value for his £3 claim, Jack Tudor.
I bet they've
listen to
I
him.
bet they've got to go and do some yard sponsorship or something going on. Something going on. If you go back to the November meeting when we ran over the cross-country fences, Barry wanted to take on Potter's Corner, third eventually, because he wasn't sure about the experience of Jack Tudor riding over the national, and these cross-country fences. Yeah. He looked an absolute wizard in the saddle that day. He's won a Welsh National. Barry is now, it's become a bit of an in-joke on the show, as the viewers know. Look at him, he's absolutely loving it. The viewers out there.
Jack Tudor t-shirt you've got on there, Barry.
Of course.
I'm not sure. I think it's a picture of Potter's Corner behind him.
Yeah, probably. But I spoke to Christian Williams about his horse last week, actually. He strongly fancies him. He wouldn't have liked a slightly sounder surface, I think, for him. So, look, there's
Canelo
Barry's
form
play.
Looks good, doesn't it?
You what, sorry?
Canelo
with
form.
Canelo, absolutely.
Canelo.
He laughed at him,
brilliant,
didn't he,
yesterday,
at Newbury. He's a horse that they've taken a little bit of time to get right, but Jack Tudor on. If he gets into a fair rhythm on the ground, he's going to be bang there. I quite like Darlac. I did like Eric LaRouge, but they've pulled him. Batch.
I like Mellow Ben. Chris Gordon, I think he's having one of his best seasons to date.
Has Dickie given you the word?
Dickie, yeah. No, Dickie hasn't, no. But Chris Gordon say he's in good old form, and he's always comes on when you ever see him interviewed. He's a bit like myself, a bit of a class clown, but he knows the job. He knows
Class clown.
he knows what. A bit like me at all. I know how to do the job.
Well, there we are. Quite right, like Poste.
That's a matter
okay,
of
so
opinion.
look, there's a couple who's going to come thick and fast the last two races here. Poste, who did you like in the last at Kempton?
Mellow Ben. I think the £7 swing's interesting. So
Interesting.
But I agree. Captain or Mellow Ben. I think that's a form line.
Lovely. Okay, they are ambling for starting positions in the Paddy Power Chase. I'm going to be coming to you as much as I can during this race, guys, funnily enough. Barry, I imagine with the fences taken out, I mean, this is a race, isn't it? If you've watched it over the years like me and you have, you can see changing fortunes up that home straight. It's going to be rough, isn't it?
Yeah, are they taken out now, though?
The
They're still out, are they? Okay, fair enough.
I don't know.
Yeah, well,
Are they?
it's going to be, if they are, and they have to shimmy around them onto the hurdle track, it could, if there's, generally there'll be a lot of them turning in the Paddy Power, so it could get very tight for room there.
It doesn't look that sunny there now, surely.
The sun does look like it's gone down slightly. We'd imagine that, wouldn't you, around about 3
I'm
o'clock?
not far from the track here, and it's actually turned quite dull now, so fingers crossed that those fences are in.
Perhaps they are in. Locks Corner, of course, we should say. John Joe O'Neill, he must have been over there since for a little while, because we've got a British runner running at the which is fantastic. And Paul Keeley's put this up in his sizzlers for you today in the paper as well. He'll like the ground. Will he get into a really progressive horse, Locks Corner?
Speak easy each way, big price as well for me, Dave.
Yeah.
Dennis O'Regan.
Again, another one of those third string McManus horses that tends to take this out.
Looks like he's taking his time perfectly for Dennis O'Regan the way he rides.
Red cap.
Red cap.
In running, Dave. All right, okay. So good luck wherever you're playing in the last two races here on RP Live. It's been really good fun today, hasn't it? We know you've been loving it out there. Keep your feedback in. You can win, of course, one of these hoodies as well. Get your comments in.
Here we go.
To the 29th, you can have one of these hoodies, but they're off and running.
Go on, Dave,
And
you call
who's-
this. I was
this
gonna
is
do it.
unbelievable scenes, isn't it? Who's up front? It looks like Plan Attack, is it, for Team de Bromhead? They're really trapping Batch, aren't they? Going to that first fence. This is no hiding place.
Yeah, it's a typical handicap. They all want to be up there, and they're going a good old lick.
Plan of Attack then just about up there. Who's got the white cap on? Chungaya? It's up there as well.
That's Roaring Bull, is it?
Is it Roaring Bull's up there as well? Okay. Who've we got in the famous Mythbuster? Michikuva up there, looking for a couple of others as well. Captain CJ, a horse that stays every single yard of this. He's going well on the inside. Castlebourne West, one for Mattie Batch. Top weight, the class angle in the race. On the inside under Paul Townend. Out the back, looking for some of the players. Done Vegan out the back. Home for Lee. Wasn't great there. Is it Home for the Lee?
Yeah,
The
did well to
inexperienced
stand up,
5-year.
yeah.
Home by the Lee. Yeah, okay, that was a serious mistake at the second fence there. It's a great sight, isn't it, when you get the head on at Leopardstown. You can see them all going over there in uniform. I'll tell you who's catching my eye a little bit is that Mitchuka Barry in the midfield. He's quite a talented horse, isn't he? Again, I'm assuming it's still 10-1 to field, surely on the exchange.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 10-10 has just come in a little into 9.8, but I'm trying to figure out what these are. Discordantly is up there anyway. Castlebourne West is in the lead now.
Yeah.
Discordantly, I think, has gone into second past one of the. I can't make out the colour they had on the first Jigginstown runner there.
It's really helping, isn't it? They've only got about
And
10
that
as
aerial
usual
view
in the
doesn't
race.
help.
No, okay, so listen, if we call this right, it'll be a miracle. But 10-10 on the inside, he has got a nice position. He did look the plot in the race with JP McManus. I wonder if JP's wielded his check, but to have a little bet on this. But home by the lead, after that mistake goes right to the back.
I think we've got Chungaya in second.
Okay.
In the
Cheers,
Gigginstown
Posty,
pale
that's
blue
really
cap.
put me off.
Yeah.
I'm looking down. I'm trying to see. Oh, Class Conti, of course, isn't it? The Munir horse. He's there as well. He keeps catching my. Everything's going all right in a minute. A Saturnus out the back. A class angle for Willie Mullins through the years as well. But Castlebourne West taking a nice enthusiastic tug in a race like this, guys. These are the sort of races that we would sort of associate you guys with. These big handicap winners that you've got on your CV. Where do you want to be? Up front?
Depends where your horse wants to be, really. Sometimes up front's best. You say it's a great sight, but it's a great sight sitting here watching it. When you're stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah, okay, now that's interesting. So if you are Machuca, for example, in the middle of their Class Conti, of course, what about on the inside? Is this the sort of race where they will be screaming and shouting at each other?
There could be a bit of noise, yeah, as if people are getting on top of each other. I mean, I think like what Batchy says, really, Dave, you want to find your own little pocket of space, get jumping, get travelling comfortably within yourself and ride your own race from there. Castlebourne West for me, just maybe travelling a bit on and off, a bit strong in front, as in you'd like to see him
suggesting he's
switch
keen?
off. A little bit keen, Dave.
We've got a TKH from Charlie Poste.
And most of these, Dave, they're all handicappers. There's a couple in here that are still a bit novice-y, but I say most of these know their job, so you can go. Some of these lads will not be seeing a lot of the fences, but listen, the horses know their job, so you trust the horse 100%.
Yeah, they do come a bit thick and fast, don't they? Barry's a Castlebourne West. He's just a little bit skew-whiffed there. Is he a little bit too exuberant? Does the market go against him at the minute?
No, they're very happy to be with him. He's 6.4 in running now at the moment, Dave. 8.2 far class, so he's come in discordantly 11.5. Manila Times has travels well. He's nearly favoured in running now at 8.
Is that him in second? I couldn't work out whether that was him or Fitzhenry in second. And remarkably similar caps, aren't they? How these commentators do it, I do not know. Home by the Lee, then still out the back. Dunvegan trying to take greater interest. The one that I think has gone in the yellow cap for Gigginstown is Monbeg Notorious. He was one of the rags anyway. He's going to fall out the back of the telly any minute. So
it is Manila Times down the inside in second.
Thank you very much, Posty. Looking for Fitzhenry. 10-10, Barry. That's your pick. He has got stamina to prove, hasn't he?
He's stamina to prove, yeah, and he's banged down the inside. He's gone the brave man's route every step. He's got a little bit tied at that. There's one seems to be travelling well. Mythbuster for Henry de Bromhead and Sean Flanagan in the famous colours of Chris Jones. He seems to be going well mid-div.
That's it. Okay, so Captain CJ, I'd be quite happy with him as well, knowing he's a strong stayer.
Fitzhenry just a little bit worse than Midway, sort of one off the inside rail.
Looked sure to win it last year, Fitzhenry, didn't we? And that's what I mean, changing fortunes. Expect it from 2 out. It might get a bit loud decibel-wise in here, just to warn you. Okay, who's in the first colours, of course, of Gigginstown? On the outside, he's going really well. Milan native.
Manila native.
Yeah, a class horse on his day, pulled up last time. He's got some really good form to his name. But we're around about 6 out at the moment. Castlebourne West, he's still going well up front, Batch.
Yeah, still going well, jumping well. And Brighton have took the lead against West Ham. Oh, it's all good. Get in there. Come on, Mopay.
Absolutely unbelievable. The season ticket holder still manages to get that up on his laptop. Now we know why he's got it on today. So we approach around about 4 out then in the Paddy Power. It's still all to play for, isn't it? Some stragglers out the back. Dunvegan looks like he's done with Posty.
Yeah, not his day at all.
Home by the Lee pulls up outside the back. But Castlebourne West still up front. I tell you what, on the inside, Milena Times, Rachel Blackmore, she'll fancy her chances. Now we're getting serious, Barry Orr. What's the market saying?
Castlebourne West, your clear favourite here, but Far Class coming in for good support, and Roaring Bull, last year's winner, coming in for good support as well. They're 80-2. Locks Corner with Mark Walsh is into 9-1 now.
Back-to-back winners, almost unheard of in this handicap. Could Gordon Elliott do the unthinkable? This is where it starts to get slightly rough, Batch. They're concertining outside behind, angling for that run. It's a tight track.
That's it. Everyone now wants to get out. They want to get a clear run at the line, especially after the last now. Ooh! Who's down?
Locks Corner.
Locks Corner.
Locks Corner nearly gone. The British
gone.
representative.
Chance gone.
Okay, absolutely gone. So they're going for it in a minute. I'll tell you what, Castlebourne West, still the one to pass. Will that big weight kick in? Has Paul Townend saved it? In the green cap, coming up, trying to have a quick in. That is indeed Roaring Bull, isn't it?
I think the
No,
winner's
it's
in
a
front.
train
I
wreck.
think the winner's in front.
Here comes Far Class.
Far
The
Class
final.
on the
This is
outside.
the
No,
giant hurdle.
winner's in front.
It's between them. Batches all over.
Winners
There's plenty
in
of
front.
people
I'm all
winning the
over
Paddy
this.
Power.
I've
Vanilla
called
Time's
it.
still there. What's this in the white cap?
Here we go.
Mythbuster as
Oi,
well as he
oi,
goes
oh,
up and
yeah.
over the last.
Yes.
No, I tell you
Yeah.
what, keep it simple.
Keep
Willie
it
Mullins,
simple.
he can do everything, can't he? Barry, top weight, Castlebourne West, first time over 3 miles. Mattie Batch called it. This has been an exhibition round up front.
Beautiful.
The first 2, pretty
Beautiful.
much in the first 2 throughout. Far Class back in 3rd, Stamina ebbing away. Goodness gracious me, this was an
Here we
absolute
go.
procession. 2 horses up the front. How many times have we seen in these staying handicap chases this season, in the last year indeed, last couple of years, these front runners just dominating every single one?
Do you know what seems to happen though? A lot of the time in these competitive races, the jockeys, they think there's going to be loads of pace, and then what happens? You not think, Batch?
Yeah.
And you end up with just one person out in front. I'd say the reason Castlebourne West looked like he was a bit keen, Dave, is almost because he's going so steady. Paul Townend's able to dictate his own terms.
Yeah.
And with top weight though, this is a fair performance in all honesty. You know, ran in the RSA last year, winning this off 148's a good effort now.
Yeah, that would be the joint top highest winning mark in the last 10 years. Only one to do that, Annabelle Fly, ended up in Gold Cup company. Will this chap now be going back? What did the market say then, Barry? Were they always alive to those front runners holding sway?
Always alive to it, Dave. Yeah, and obviously Paul Townend picked correctly too, which is a big help for him. But yeah, that run back in Punchestown that day was a couple of them are very opposed, but to finish third there, Tornado Flyer was second, the Daily Tiger third. That was a really, it's working out a good race. That was the race Dunvegan was in, and Far Class was in it as well. And he's confirmed form with them. So yeah, I think he's going to go on to bigger and better things.
That's it. He's carrying a lot of weight. It's an impressive performance. Listen, even if you go grade 3, grade 2, he may not be a grade 1 horse, but you would go up in graded company, Posty, wouldn't you?
Without question, Batchy. I mean, he's going to go up. He's going to go up at least 7 or 8 over in Ireland. So when he comes over to England, I'd have thought he's going to be somewhere near 160. I'd have thought after today. Well, he's going to need to be near enough graded class if he's going to be competing in handicaps in Britain off that mark. Or like I say, he's going to. I agree with Batch. I think this is probably a graded performance. Now, whether he can go all the way to the top level, who knows? But he definitely looks like a graded horse.
He went through the top of the last a little bit as well, didn't he? And yeah, so they were always up there. I'll tell you what, Far Class, Barry, you'd be looking at maybe the plate for him when you were at Cheltenham or something like that, the way that he's just flattened out there. He had a big say there, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he's ran well. Obviously, he was off the back of nearly a year break before that race in Punchestown, where the winner ran in. Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying him again over 3 miles. I think he stayed on well there, and he'll come on again for the run, I'd imagine.
Okay, all right. That was the penultimate race, the Paddy Power Gold Cup. Fair play. If you weighed in with Batch, it took a while, but we got there in the end.
4
Batch,
weeks.
And you won
4 shows.
But hey, save it for the last. The trickiest race we've done so far, I think, this season. That was certainly the trickiest call, that's for sure. Let's have a reminder then, because they've given us a bit of a breather, thankfully, as they get ready to start in the last race here for us, RP Live 305 at Kempton Park. Is it still all about Royal Pagale, or is indeed Darlak vying for favouritism? Barry Orr?
At the moment, just give me 1 second to pull it up here. The last time I looked, we have.
Tell you what, Poste's going to be after Barry's job soon. Unbelievable, Sees.
Yeah,
if you're
Barry
watching
be getting the
Dublins
old
at Betfair,
P45 soon.
I think Andrew Black does watch this show, just to let you know.
Royal Pagale, your favourite, yeah, 6.6, 7 Darlak, 7 or now 8 Mellow Ben, Adrian DuPont 8.8, 7.6 Captain Nord.
Yeah, we know, Dave. Charlie's already told us.
Oh, fantastic, Sees. We have had a good crack
Could
in
be
this
worse,
afternoon.
Batch. I could be tipping non-runners.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That's a good one, Dave.
Hey, we're
Yeah.
going to need a bigger boat. We
We
got a nibble.
We got a nibble.
And
Come
West Ham-
on.
And West Ham have equalised.
No, no.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Okay, so I'll tell you what, Adrian DuPont, lads, he's a horse that I've done some dough. He's a bit of a cliff horse for me. I thought the ground would be against him, but the market obviously likes him quite a bit here. He'd be one for me. What about a double shuffle? There are loads of course specialists in here. He's run well in Racing Post chases, isn't he? And, you know, probably ran one in King George at some point, I thought. He was one that I kind of hovered over, but slightly...
Losing run stands at 17.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But they do, I don't know, they're keeping him going on. Tom George, he'll find his level again at one point. Mellow Ben, you both like.
Yes.
I was slightly worried about the ground for him.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, I, from what we're seeing, I don't think the ground is riding that bad at Kempton. I mean, I'd be interested to get a jockey's view on it. So
I wonder what
It
Nicky
very
Henderson's
rarely-
saying after that last race.
Kempton, over the years, Charlie, we both rode there. I've never known it really bad there.
No.
It drains well. It's it's always sort of been okay there.
Well, you would think maybe the Lanzarote meeting, wouldn't you? Sort of when it's getting all churned up and tacky. Is that some of the worst ground you got? We're covering that, of course.
It can get chewed up a bit for sure. But I mean, I'd have thought on a day like today, like there was reasonable ground yesterday. They had a bit of overnight rain. I'd be struggling to say that our ground is going to be a major issue for Mellow Ben. If they're struggling to operate on this right now, in all honesty, they're better off having a break till the spring.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so absolutely. So listen, don't worry about it. Basically, if you fancy a horse, keep it simple. That's what Graham Rodway was telling us with great success yesterday. He took on Epatante yesterday, Graham Rodway.
Did he?
Got it right. Yeah, just when you think he's going to be out the door, he gets another absolute swings the ball out of the ground. You know?
It was a very lacklustre run, wasn't it? I know there's.
I thought she was a bit flat. Yeah.
And Coleman said that in his interview, didn't he? He just said the well factor wasn't really there.
Yeah, okay. We're looking for some Altior quotes as well. Nicky will be taking his time to debrief the press as ever. But Rob Lee in the studio, again, you can get this all on your members section. Very important. We've got 2 days left of the festive festival there on RP Live. Batch, good to have you in again. You've enjoyed it?
Yeah, loved it.
It's been a good crack. Good to be with your...
Poste, yeah.
With your governor.
The font of all knowledge, Poste is.
Well, indeed. There we are. It's been borne out. You've been very well behaved. And of course, you're now going to go back and say, I'm going to apply for a job across the Irish Sea. There's a guy that will be out of his chair sooner or later.
Barry's already messaged me privately on Twitter. He's
going to groom you for the big seat, is he?
Yeah.
Happy days. Okay, we've made a Betfarian out of him. Lovely.
You got any jobs going for a tea boy, Barry? I'll make a mean cup of tea.
I think he's a non-runner, isn't he? The
Yeah.
You're overqualified.
No, I don't know about that.
Okay, so yeah, again, the debrief from Altior. What a day we've had. The treble went down, then it's Chacun Pour Soir, hardening at the top of the champion chase market. Shishkin, did we see the Arkle winner? Did we see the Supreme Novice winner? Inappreciate it. Will we see a potential Grand National horse coming out of this last race at Kempton? Could it be Royal Pagal? Lots of you back in that. Darlac gone right up in the handicap for that romp at Wincanton. Still fancied by the market. Will Captain Orr advertise that Canelo form from for the Ronan Merrick? Bit of money, late money for King's Writ as well, Barry, just before they jump off.
Yeah, he's into 9.6 now, Dave. Joshua Newman's on that. Mr. Joshua Newman, he has been as big as 14.7, so nearly half the price.
Off they go, and he's a lightly pace angle, expecting to see Josh Newman up there at the start. Something got a smack right at the start, and that was Comanche Red. It seems a long time ago since Comanche Red took out the novice handicap on Boxing Day last year. He loves it here, but has he gone at the game? We'll find out. Mellow Ben then over the first. You were expecting this to happen, Batch?
Yeah, Dickie's taken the bull by the horns and said, right, come on, let's get the job done. He's just travelling a little bit keen in this ground, but he'll get back in a minute, I think. Diggy.
Okay, so Comanche Red probably $1 million already on the exchange. So I imagine Darlac, as he did at Wincanton, superior that Darlac, wasn't he? Back up to 3 miles won't be a problem. He's out the back at the minute, but up front it is Mellow Ben getting on with it from the King's Writ. Looking for that. Royal Pagal is up there as well. The Chantou Village having a little bit to say at the minute. Adrien Dupont settles in midfield. We've got Creve Hill looking for Cap du Nord. He's observing
3/4 of the way down the inside.
That's Royal Pagal out the back, actually. It's actually double shuffle who's taking interest. So three-way go for the lead up front here, Posty. Are they doing too much?
They're going quite quick, Posty, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a strong gallop at the moment, yeah for sure. But look, I think we'll see how it unfolds in a bit of time. But Captain Orr, Jack Tudor's got him in a lovely slot 3/4 of the way back. Nice to see Adrian Heskin back riding as well on Darlac, slotted right in.
Yeah, he's a big ride for Adrian, that absolutely. Just fiddling that with Soupy Soups, 1 or 2 from Neil Mulholland in the pack as well. So just slowing it slightly up front. Dickie Johnson on Mellow Ben, he's got the inside. If you're leading King's Writ, basically, you're doing plenty, that's for sure. Double shuffle a little bit tight there. Captain Orr making a move now. Royal Pagal on the outside. He's giving out the outside to no one, Charlie Deutsch. But he's on a strong traveller batch, isn't he?
Yeah, I say Charlie's probably just let him see his fences, but he's travelling well, so he'd be happy enough.
First time back up to 3 miles. He did try 2 miles 7 a couple of times.
He went
last
left
season.
over the first as well, Dave. I think so. He's probably ended up out there through jumping left early on.
That's interesting because Paul Keeley and his Sizzlers, who put him up today, said perhaps he'll be happier going on back on a left-handed track. So maybe that will borne out a little bit late. But they're well and truly strung out. Adrien Dupont, the market liked him beforehand, Barry. He looks like he's on good terms with himself. Harry Cobden in about 4th place at the minute. But who's there hot and who's not?
Yeah, Mellow Ben's your favourite at 4.4 now. It's 6 Adrien Dupont. Captain Nord 7, 7.4 Darlic, 8 Royal Pagal. They're all still well there, really.
Yeah, Soupy Soups and Comanche Red, the ones that are looking in trouble. Creefield's lost a place or two. If you're on Darlak, don't panic yet. He's scythed through the pack, but he's going to need them to come back to him. Does that really happen here at Kempton?
It's not. I mean, it's certainly not the right place for it. You know, as in you'd far rather a strong traveller on the front end round Kempton.
And as we've got one that's winging away up front. Mellow Ben, is this another Frodon in action here? Pop him up, but he's been a bit exuberant over his fences, isn't he?
A little bit, but and Raw Pag's sort of jumping a bit straighter now as well.
Definitely.
More
Darlak just
Pagal,
made
yeah.
a sloppy mistake with the circuit to go.
Okay, well spotted there. Poste. Okay, so up front it is Mellow Ben then, the consistent Mellow Ben, Richard Johnson, hoping to get off the mark. And double shuffle. I'll tell you what, he'll keep going.
Turning back the years, travelling, enjoying it.
Listen, he's been unlucky not to win some top races around Kempton. Got a great record in them. It's just the odd error that caught him out in the home straight in his pomp. Captain Orr going well, Posty as well. Creeping closer. That talented Jack Tudor.
That Jack Tudor, he's taken the weighing room by storm, and another good ride for him today.
Absolutely. A man rating well above his years, I think we can say that. And I think the stragglers are now, it looks like Creve Hill's struggling a little bit under Jordan Naylor. They've really no hiding place here. Loads of horses being taken out of their comfort zone as Mellow Ben continues to hold a double shuffle up front. The pair still well clear, actually, about 6 clear of the King's Writ. He won't like this. Now, who's this that's making a move?
Shantou Village.
Is this Shantou Village that's trying to have a say and trying to get a bit closer? Adrian Dupont's going well, looking for Darlak. Oh, this is, I don't know, they're going to need them to absolutely fold. He's making up some ground. What price is Darlak in the run, Barry? I'm assuming big.
Yeah, I think he's out to 10 now. Looking at this, I've just frozen here for a second.
Heskey just got a bit busy on him then as well.
Yeah, he's
Darlak out to 23 now.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So the market not liking him at all.
Captain Nord, your favourite with Royal Pagaille at 4.
Yeah,
Royal Pagaille just shading it now into 11 to 4.
Thank you, Barry. As around about 4 go up, reminiscent of the King George.
Deutsche making good headway on the outside.
Hang on though. Still got the inside. Mellow Ben double shuffle, rolling back the ear, still going well. Now the closers are coming up. Shantou Village, Captain Orr, Adrian Dupont. As I said, he's on a going day. Harry Cobden's absolutely trying to pull him. Do not go yet, boy. He's saying. Creve Hill trying to come back into it. Darlak, now he's starting to go a bit better, but will the front runners come back? 4 out then. Mattie Batch, who do you want to be on?
I think Deutsche's still travelling well on the outside, getting plenty of room. He's just looked
now,
over there. I think he's just going to edge over to the inside a little bit. I think Mellow Ben might have just beginning to run out a bit of a petrol.
I'll tell you what, if Royal Pagaille takes this out, lads, we're definitely looking at a future Grand National horse, I think.
He's a 5 to 4 chance. For what? 3 to jump.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
come right in now.
What will Adrian Dupont find then? Captain Orr, though, not done with whatsoever. They took his time a little bit more at Newbury last time. We saw that form advertised in no uncertain terms yesterday at Weatherby. It looks like it's a 4-way play. Double shove then under the pump. 3 out. Charles
Solo up the
Royal
inside.
Pagaille going. Oh yeah. Okay. Jack Tudor.
Jack Tudor.
A difference of opinion with the ground. Adrian Dupont goes all the way out wide on the inside, just about taking it up now, Captain Orr. Christian Williams was confident of a big run. He's doing that, but Royal Pagaille not off the bridle. We know he stays strongly. What price Royal Pagaille with 2 to jump, Barry?
Odds on.
Royal Pagaille 2's on now.
Yeah.
2's on as they go clearly.
Just gone 5
Oh!
to 2-1.
Wow, that means he's the turbos kicking in with Captain Orr.
Gonna have to battle here.
Deutsche wins.
2 go well clear then of Double Shuffle, who's run a great race.
Royal Pagaille.
Deutsche
Royal
wins.
Pagaille up to the last.
Bing.
Picks him over, very nice. We know he's a Dow horse. This is a
nice.
very well handicapped horse. We saw him on RP Live grinding it out at Haydock. He's shown a new side to his game there. Gave up the outside to no one, covered most ground. Job done. Well done, Paul Keeley. Putting that up in your sizzlers for your punters out there. The favourite takes out the last race here on RP Live.
And he's done it the hard way. Listen, to go that wide round Kempton, you're giving an awful lot of ground away. And he's done it easy. He's done it easy. As you say, could be a future Grand National horse.
Better going left-handed, I think, as well, isn't he? So are we talking about, what, the Ultima now at Cheltenham? I suppose that's the target. I thought it might be the classic chase for him, but...
I mean, look, what's he going to be? He'd be nearly 150 after today, I would have thought, you know, as in, I'd imagine, yeah, they're going to look for something, like you say, like the Ultima around Cheltenham would be an obvious target, maybe before a stepping stone towards the National.
Okay, it's just whether he wants that, that softer ground was the thing. Adrian Dupont, considering the ground wasn't totally up his street there, I think he's probably shown a return to form. Captain Orr, we know he's better on good ground. Think they'd be looking at something like the Bet365 towards the end of the season or something like that. I know they've got Kitty's Light for that as well.
Possibly, yeah. Better ground that sort of time of year, so he could they might do that, definitely. Yeah.
Proper handicap that, wasn't
I think
it?
though the two to focus on really are the first two, aren't they? They look like improving horses going up through the ranks. Like you say, Adrian Dupont and Double Shuffle have been there and done it, and they're probably on the downgrade. But
Good run from him, though.
They pulled a long way clear the first
Considering
two.
he's duelled up front Double Shuffle, I know you're right. Ultimately losing run now, 0 from 18, isn't it, in the last couple? But I don't know, would it be back to the former Racing Post Chase for him? Was a Betway handicap, wasn't it, I think, last season? I bet he's there. Again, he'll have a say at some point, I think.
Did the early pace just tell Mellow Ben, I think?
It just looked like he was over racing the whole way, didn't he?
Especially when the three were upsides there. They were just probably doing a little bit too much on that ground.
Strong form race then. Royal Pagaille takes it out from Cap du Nord. 2 fancied runners and Double Shuffle all the way back in third. That concludes us here on RP Live. Day 2 of our festive festival. It really has been good fun, lads, having you both in. Poste, you're back tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, yep.
Happy days. Keith Melrose will be expecting a day off the off the Betfair machine, I expect.
Oh, they're struggling to get me off this now.
Happy days. Barry, it's been a good day. You took on Alty off, got the money there.
Well, I didn't. I laid him into 2 places, and he sneaked into second, unfortunately, for the charity, should I say.
Greed.
So,
Greed's a terrible thing, Barry.
Dreadful thing.
It comes in. You wouldn't know about that, of course, still riding. You've got to watch every diet. Thanks for coming in again.
Pleasure.
Absolutely fantastic. Let's hope you've enjoyed it out there. Once again, I will remind you that if you comment on YouTube or Facebook Live, just make a comment, whatever it is. We'll try and give it a shout out, but you could win one of these hoodies as well. You can go until the 29th to do that. Myself, Barry and Charlie will be back tomorrow at Savile Chase Day at Leopardstown. For now, enjoy the sport. See you later.